3 o'clock on a Wednesday. Welcome aboard the postgame show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you inside the Herndon Chevy Studios, wherever you might be. Thank you for being with us. Lots to get to on today's program. Your interactivity will be appreciated as we have a poll question running. Now that we have some future scheduling announcements, what else does the future schedule hold? What might you want it to hold? What might you want to see go away? We'll get into those things for you. Coordinators speaking today, Joe D., Mike Shula, Clayton White. Gamecocks host Kentucky, obviously, on Saturday. Call it a must-win game if you want to. I'm basically there. I know some people don't like that term when we're in the middle of a season or there's not anything specifically on the line or it's not an elimination postseason kind of game. But considering, despite the flaws, and how much of a long shot it may feel like, South Carolina has the majority of its goals in front of it, including an opportunity to have meaningful postseason play. But you can't lose this game if you want it. So there's that. And again, I'm not sitting here going, "Hey, Carolina fans, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You're going to be great." But you got to win Saturday. And for a lot of reasons, you need to win a game like Saturdays, including continuing to put distance between you and Kentucky, because you have not been able this season to do that with Missouri. We'll find out just how much, if at all, of an outlier or an anomaly Vanderbilt's win in Columbia was. We know that Vanderbilt had not won in Columbia since 2007, not beaten South Carolina at all since 2008. So you've got plenty of distance between you and Vanderbilt, but that's not what you're here for. But with Kentucky, that got tighter than you wanted it for a few years. So you have an opportunity now to continue that, and this would be 4 in a row. South Carolina's more talented than Kentucky, but Kentucky will come in here wanting to make the game ugly. Shane mentioned that yesterday. This game is typically kind of ugly. But Kentucky's like that. They're fine with that. That's the way Mark Stoops was raised in the football world, and he's going to continue to be that way.
You've never thought explosive offense. Hey, let's talk about Kentucky. During Stoops' tenure, for the most part.
Yeah, they've had a couple of good offenses here or there, but by and large, he's not out. He's not out really recruiting that guy.
No, it's not his MO.
He's going to recruit an offense that complements his defense's ability to get teams off the field.
He is
and
built
then control
around
the
his
clock.
defense. Yes,
and that's fine. I got no problem with that. But can Carolina handle that this weekend? Because in order to maybe look, there are certain schools I think that are perfectly fine with striking fast and then playing a lot of defense. Tennessee comes to mind, but Tennessee can run the football, and that's South Carolina's problem, obviously, is that they can't. Carolina's got some big plays in them. They've hit a big play in pretty much every game, right? But in some games, several. But you can't run. And Lenoris isn't running, or at least not enough, right? In a lot of people's minds. Will Helms had a nice breakdown today of the analytics at Gamecock Central. Will does a great job.
It was really good, man.
Well, he does a great job. He really does, and I'm glad he's now able to do what he does full time, because when he got going, he had 2 jobs, and because we used to try to get him on a bunch, he's like, I'll just say he was a school teacher.
Well, he's a school teacher, right?
He's a school teacher, and he's like, dude, I'd love to, but
I'm in class.
I got class.
It's like, bro, just look at those kids and go, can you give me 10 minutes?
Right. So
talk amongst yourselves.
But I'm glad he's able to do this full time now, and it's a good breakdown. So yet another reason to subscribe to Gamecock Central is to see how Will breaks these things down. But for Carolina, I will continue to say it, and if you get tired of hearing it, I'm not going to apologize. The Gamecocks have to fix the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks do have to worry about their opponent, obviously, and you need to game plan for what their strengths and weaknesses are. But if you don't fix you, I don't really care. I hate to sound harsh or blunt, but you got to fix you first.
Yeah. It's funny. A couple things. A, you are so glass half empty about this season, saying, well, you fell back against Missouri and you haven't put any space between you and Vandy, and you got to put space between you and Kentucky. You failed to mention how much space you put between you and South Carolina State.
Well, yeah.
Why are you so negative?
I don't have an answer to that. I don't have an answer to that.
Look, in all seriousness, you know, there is that point about Kentucky. But the bigger point is here for me. And you're right. I mean, South Carolina on paper is better than Kentucky. Hell, South Carolina on paper is better than Vandy. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, Missouri.
Recruiting rankings would tell you got more talent than Missouri, too.
I was going to say, Missouri replaced a lot of guys. Your recruiting ranking is higher. And Eli Drinkwitz, if you hear some of these Missouri guys talk that week, Eli Drinkwitz would rather take his allocated money and give it to the transfer portal guys that have a resume than give money to these freshmen coming out of high school, and then in a year they transfer somewhere else. So you do have more talent on paper probably than all those teams. Damn shame you don't play these games on paper, Jay.
Yes.
What a shame. So, yeah, I mean, beating Kentucky for what you said, which is correct, but also the idea you're better than them, and you need to beat them at home. And how many times are we going to say that the rest of the season besides Coastal? That you're better on paper.
Yeah, well, better on paper.
That's what I
don't
mean.
know, because I think the only other game that South Carolina is, at least as we speak, favored to win by the computers is Clemson.
Right.
With and Coastal, obviously, but so Kentucky, Coastal, Clemson.
And coming into the year, everybody told you Clemson's going to have a bunch of guys drafted in the first few rounds of the NFL draft.
And they still probably will.
Yeah, and so...
But they're just not...
It's not.
It's just like South Carolina.
Together.
It's not. You can have a collection of talent, doesn't make you a team.
No, and that's one of the things. And the ironic part of that, though, is here's a guy. Not to go off the spiel on Clemson real quick, but all we heard in the offseason was this. This is the year Dabo tells you and shows you that Dabo's way works. I'm not hitting a bunch of guys in the portal. I'm still going to recruit high school kids and develop them. We're going to keep them for 3 years, 4 years, whatever. We're going to do it that way. So you got a bunch of guys on that team, Jay, that have been together for multiple years. And this year, for some reason, it's not cohesive. I don't know. But everybody else in the country, when you're doing the portal and you're bringing in players and you are meshing together really year by year in some way, you're going to have times where, for some reason, it ain't connecting. But then it's your job. How do I get this thing connected?
Right.
And that's not the only reason South Carolina struggled. I'm not going to sit here and point fingers at the portal. There's multiple reasons here it's not working. But you've got 8 games to figure it out. November, you're phenomenal. Did we do these numbers yesterday? 13-5 in November in Shane's tenure. But the thing is, you can't be sitting with a losing record going in November and trying to scrape and scrap up to get yourself to 7 wins, right? You got to start getting this started this Saturday.
No, you have to do it. You have to win Saturday. Then you get a week to take a deep breath, heal up a little bit, but work on you. Look, and I'm not trying to compare the two programs directly because that wouldn't be at all fair. But do you know how many false starts Georgia committed at Tennessee the other day?
Tell me.
None.
Well,
and again, that might not that's harsh, but it's just to illustrate that if you're you must do the little things well on the road. You should do them all the time.
Yes.
But when you are on the road and you know it's going to be difficult, you've got to do the little things. And let's face it, a few false starts here or there for Georgia, and maybe that's a different kind of ball game. Who knows? But Georgia didn't commit a false start the other day.
Well, the offensive line for a minute. And look, we can always say, yeah, but for all these things, right? A couple years ago, offensive line was terrible. Yeah, but there were injuries, okay? It also exposed a lack of depth because you had to go play tree and ball and guys who shouldn't be on the field. Last year, was it better than 2 years ago? Yeah, but Lenore Sellers made it look a lot better than it really was. Let's just be honest. This year, we're having conversations again about the offensive line, particularly the left side, which involves, by the way, a 5-star recruit who we thought this year was going to take a huge leap forward. And I'll be kind, he's stuck in neutral, if not going in reverse a little bit. So I think at some point we have to have some difficult conversation. If this continues down this road again this year, what the bleep is going on regarding offensive line play in the last so many years at South Carolina? What's the problem? Because if this keeps going, there's a problem, Jay. Whether it's players aren't as good as you thought, or recruiting services as you thought, you're not developing them well, you're not running something that goes to their skill set, or running something they're comprehending. Something's not right, man. If we see this the rest of the year, this is multiple years in a row of this.
No, there is an issue. To what degree and what's going to be done about it will be interesting, in the shorter and longer term. But there is an issue there. I just how much of one and who's in charge of what. I think those are.
You brought up a great example right there. We're just talking about basic snap of the ball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about what happens after you snap it. Basic snap of the ball. And you're right. On the road, you've really got to hunker down.
I think South Carolina, there were 7 line penalties. I want to say, because I went back and looked. I didn't write it down. I don't have it in front of me anyway. I think it was 5 false starts and 2 offside. I think I'm right about that.
Yeah.
I can go back and double check, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're little, but in and of themselves, maybe you can overcome it. But when you just keep doing it and you turn again, I don't know, but if a 2nd and 3 becomes a 2nd and 8,
that's a big deal, Jay.
or a 3rd and 3 becomes a 3rd and 8.
What are the percentages of hitting 3rd and 3 compared to 3rd and 8?
Yeah, so
over and over again.
Little things like that begin to just, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Or this, you're a team that struggles with success rate, which is just basically moving the football in a productive manner consistently. I won't go into the whole deep dive on success, but like 5 yards on first down is considered a successful run on first down or a successful play on first down. Mm-hmm. Let's say you get that successful play. You get a 2nd and 5. Oh, no. You got some kind of penalty to push you back. Now it's 1st and 15. It's not 2nd and 5 anymore.
Right.
And now you're behind the sticks and you're scrambling. Like you said, it's paper cuts, man.
Yeah. A lot to get to on today's program. I do have a poll question for you, and I want to get to this because on the other side, we'll give you today's start, bench, drop before Lulu Kesson joins us at the bottom of the hour with more on Gamecock football. Obviously, last night, I didn't watch the whole thing because, sometimes those kind of things drag. But last night, the Southeastern Conference Network had a special with everyone's football opponents for the next 4 years being announced. We don't know dates and times, obviously. That's okay. We know who will play who, and where. We just don't know the when in terms of dates. But South Carolina's full schedule is out. And on that note, I ask you the following. Now that now the poll just went away, Terry. Now Twitter's not giving me my poll.
I blame Gunner.
No, but seriously, I wish you could come see this. It says something went wrong.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I don't have my poll anymore. Oh, here we go. All
Is
right.
it back?
That was weird. But Twitter does that sometimes. Something went wrong.
Did you get a personalized message, Jay?
Yeah.
Your poll is not here.
Now that we've seen the Gamecocks' SEC opponents over the next 4 football seasons and knowing they'll play Clemson, do you still want home and homes with Miami, North Carolina, and NC State? 2 choices. It's basically a yes, no. Yes, more good football, or no, that's too hard. I'm not going to give you the results yet. We'll ultimately get into that, but I'd rather you go vote. So hit me up at jphillips1075. I'll retweet it here in just a second to put it at the top of the page. In fact, I'll do that right now. So go vote. Let me know what you think, and we'll get into more of that. I
like it.
I think those of you who listen routinely,
we know what we think.
you know
right?
how I feel.
You know where we're at.
But I am curious to see what you and the audience feel about this. So hit me up. Again, it's a yes, no. And if you want to say something else about the no,
yeah, feel free.
Okay. But I think the only reason you'd say no is because you're scared to lose.
But you don't want to lose.
That's it.
Right.
So.
And that goes into another road of psyche.
Yeah, I mean, but that's because there really can't. Otherwise, that's why I say if you say, oh no, there's another valid reason. I'm perfectly fine with losing or playing hard games. My reason is blank. I'd like to hear that if you choose. No. 803-404-6100. We'll do a start, bench, drop on the other side as well, and plenty more from the coordinators and Coach Beamer ahead of Kentucky. It's the postgame show. Integrated Media, ready to help you out when it comes to everything home theater, home technology, even. It's more than just how you watch and what you watch and how you listen and what you listen to and everything else, because it can be watching your home, as in security cameras, video doorbells, right? They can do all that for you. Or putting your thermostat onto the same app that your TV and your security system and your sound system are on, so you can control it all from wherever you might be. Right? Again, turn that thing down when you leave, turn it up when you get ready to leave the office, and when you get home, boom, there it is. Maybe you want to go outdoors with next level equipment to enjoy the outdoors and the games all at the same time. Well, they've got outdoor equipment that is built to be out there all the time. Don't have to cover it, don't have to bring it in, don't have to worry about it. Whatever you want to do in home theater and home technology, Integrated Media, the absolute best. 803-948-8327. And you Pro Swing fans, couple of spots left for the Fall League. You can hit them up at ProSwingColumbia.com. All right, welcome back in. It is start bench drop time here on a Wednesday. Lulu Keston of the Greenville News will join us coming up inside of 15 minutes to give us her take on what's going on around Carolina football, both the now and the later. And we will talk more in depth about the schedule. Again, hit me up on Twitter at jphillips1075. And I'll see if I can get Elijah to retweet that on the station feed too and open it up for you. But one as big a sample. I think I had this one running. Let me make sure, Terry. Yeah, I got this run until the end of tomorrow's show. So we'll
good.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Today's start bench drop. I will freely admit I stole this idea. Well, I didn't steal the idea because they didn't mean to get on it. And it's not a steal of a start bench drop. But today, for a little bit, I was listening to the Dan Patrick program.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Todd Fritz. He gets picked on a lot, but he's quite a guy. But he freely admitted today to being the stay in the left lane driver, no matter the speed he's going, and basically not comprehending that the left lane of the interstate is really designed primarily as a passing lane, not a driving lane.
Right.
Yes, people drive in it. But he was complaining about how, I'm in the left lane and people come up on me so fast. And I'm like, well, just go around me. And they're all everybody, Dan, Paul, Seaton, Marvin, everybody's like, no, Todd, you're supposed to get over at that point, not them. They don't go around you.
Right.
You need to move over because that's where the faster people go. And he was having none of it. And it went on. It kept going. And it really was kind of baffling.
Where did he learn to drive?
I don't know. Well, he's from Brooklyn.
Well,
and he lives up in Connecticut, I guess. But regardless, up that way, there's traffic. And as I mentioned, as a quick aside, a couple of months ago, the state of Louisiana passed a law, and I hope others will do the same because it is annoying. Anyway, that got me to think about today's start bench drop.
Mm-hmm.
So today it is things that can really aggravate you. I put the word slow in, so I kind of did this out of alphabetical order, so I apologize for that. I'll change it here. So first off, start bench drop. 8 a.m. blower guy. All right. Slow left lane driver.
Mm-hmm.
Loud talker at a theater or concert.
I've already got mine. That was easy.
So 8 a.m. blower guy, slow left lane driver, loud talker at a theater or concert. And you may say, can you hear him at a concert? My wife and I, a couple of years ago, the reason I'm going to put concert, my wife and I went to see Harry Connick Jr. over the township. We've seen him a couple times. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, like going to see, AC/DC or something.
Right.
And this guy... And clearly it was a date with someone new. Okay, this was not a wife or a girlfriend. This was clearly someone that this fellow was trying to impress. And buddy, if you're listening and you remember this, you really were. I don't want to he was rude, but he wouldn't shut up. He just wouldn't shut up. And the girl, I even kept looking, and the girl was like, I kind of want to listen to Harry Connick.
Could you stop talking?
You could just tell, but he wouldn't shut up. And the thing is, he was talking so loud because it's still a concert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I finally, and we had pretty good seats. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I got up and we went and basically just stood and we told one of the ushers our pal here won't shut up. We didn't want to rat him out, right? We're just can we just stand and listen for the rest of the show? So for 45 minutes to an hour, my wife and I, we were fine. We went and got a beer and just we were fine. But the guy I'm seriously. So anyway,
Here's my
or
question.
a movie theater too. Why are you going to a movie and running your mouth?
That's what I want to go back to real quick is you're taking your date to a concert. Okay, let's pretend like we're on a date.
Right.
Okay, honey?
Yeah.
All right, sweetie?
Sure.
So we go and I say, hey, let's go see Harry Connick Jr. And if you like Harry Connick Jr., you say, yeah, I want to go.
I want to go to see Harry Connick.
Because guess what? If I didn't want to go see Harry Connick Jr., I wouldn't go. Right? So she's there. She didn't say this. Let's go to Harry Connick Jr., and then why don't you just talk through the whole thing? So what are you doing in general right there, right? That's the baffling part of that to begin with.
And it reminds me, there's a Friends episode where Ross, they get kicked out of a movie. Ross and Joey get kicked out of a movie, and like he's mad, and they get back to the apartment, and he's like, yeah, Ross got us kicked out of the movie because he was talking too loud. He goes, I had to talk loud because the movie was loud. But people. So anyway, I don't want to go too far.
I know what you're saying.
You know,
loud talkers at movies.
Yeah. So, or just at a place where otherwise, hey, shut up.
Right.
And enjoy what's in front of you, because that's why we're all here.
Because again, why would you come to it if you want to talk?
Yeah, if you want to talk,
go somewhere to go talk.
Or you know what? I wanted to say to this guy at the Conic show, I was like, hey, buddy, just take her out to the lobby. They got a nice, big, pretty lobby out there. You can get a glass of wine.
Just sit and rap, man.
And just talk. You know, if you maybe you can kind of peripherally hear what Harry's doing on stage. If not, Harry Connick's band live kicks ass, and I'd like you to be quiet.
Wouldn't it be great if Harry Connick was in the middle of singing and stopped him? Excuse me.
Yeah, pal. Hey,
buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Trying to sing down here. Hey, can you cut that down a little bit?
That would have been awesome.
It was so good. Don't care about what happened to you at the job. Just keep that down.
But that's like the worst I've ever had. It's not at a movie, but at because he was right next to me.
Here's my question. We won't dwell on him anymore, even though we could do a show on this guy.
Yeah. And again, if you're listening and you know who you are,
what was he yammering about?
Oh, I don't know. He was. I don't know if he was bragging about stuff, but he was the only one doing the talking.
Oh, she wasn't.
No. She would kind of nod, and occasionally
Okay,
or
ready?
something
to that point.
And I'm not staring at them the whole time because I'm trying to pay attention to the concert. But you can't help
what's happening behind you. So if you have any self-awareness at all, if she's not answering or contributing, don't you zip your face?
I want to believe. Yes, I want to believe that she understood that and that's why I say this was clearly not a couple.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can tell. You can tell a vibe.
He was working.
Yeah. And I don't know if he was trying to say, "Hey, baby, I got a Rolex and I got a BMW, and hey, I don't know the subject matter per se because I wasn't trying to listen to him as much as it's just it's almost like a
teacher from Peanuts
drill going, just something in your ear." And so anyway, that's
a good one, Jay.
So
Phillips.
that's today's start bench drop. 8 a.m. blower guy, slow left lane driver on the interstate, pretty much, or loud talker at a theater or concert or other event where otherwise you should shut the hell up.
Again, my start is easy. Now I got to figure out bench and drop.
So we'll do that for you. All right. Gamecocks need to beat Kentucky. What are they doing to fix their issues? We'll get into that with Lulu Keston. What does Lulu think about the future scheduling and how that might affect certain non-conference scheduling? We'll do that with Lulu Keston of the Greenville News when the postgame show returns. Griffin Pools and Spas is ready to make your backyard dreams a reality. You've been thinking about a brand new pool. Any time of year, they can help you out with this. I know the summer is winding down, but let's face it, it is officially fall, and it's 91 degrees. So if you've got a pool, congrats, because you're going to be enjoying it. But if you want to do anything with an above-ground pool or an in-ground pool, you can call Griffin Pools and Spas right now, 803-957-2121. Better yet, log on to griffinpoolsandspas.com and see everything they can do for you. Maybe you already own a pool. Maybe this off season, if you will, it's time for a new cover. Maybe you want to replace that vinyl liner. It's a little old, faded out by the sun and the chemicals. They can do that. Maybe add a few features like a slide, new ladder. They can do all that for you too. Plus spas, hot tubs, grills, and accessories for the outdoors. Steps away from the Lake Murray Dam. And again, always online at griffinpoolsandspas.com.
And I get it. There's a lot of people outside this building that aren't happy with me and aren't happy with our 2-2 record, and I don't blame them. But you get to come back into Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday night and be a part of the greatest environment in all of college football. So that's what our focus is on and looking forward to, and hard at work on that.
Shane Beamer from yesterday's press conference, Carolina and Kentucky. Saturday night at Williams-Brice. The ball game is sold out. Welcome back in. I want to remind you, tomorrow, 9 to noon?
Yep.
Okay, 9 to noon, Firehouse, right across the river, over that way.
Which way is that?
That's west.
When it's
West.
It's west.
You
And it's
said
Columbia,
West Columbia, right?
So it's West Columbia. Look at you.
Okay.
You're like a human GPS.
Yes. That's
Phenomenal.
on my business card.
I mean, if Lulu needs directions anywhere, forget using her phone. She can just hit you up.
Call me. I
Call
point,
Jay.
and you'll get there.
You know what? Your voice should be on the GPS. Like when you're driving around, the little voice comes on, take a
they
left,
should
take
have
a
called
right,
me,
take an
man.
exit.
That's probably a pretty good gig.
Yeah, I bet you make a little bit of dough.
Yeah. That's a
Absolutely.
good gig.
So now-
All right. Lulu Kesson does indeed join us now. She is on the beat covering the Gamecocks for the Greenville News. I won't bore her with how much she might want me to give her directions. Instead, Lulu, I always appreciate you. This team is seemingly self-aware in that it knows it's got a lot of its own problems to fix. But through these first couple of conference games, it didn't appear as if all that much really changed with what ails them. What more are you learning about what they've got to do to be a better Carolina before they can even worry about their opponent?
Yeah, and first of all, I genuinely was laughing on the other line when you were talking about the GPS thing. But through 4 games, it's definitely been an up and down, and I know people might think it's just kind of all been down, but I do think you have to look at what's gone, slightly well. And obviously, I thought there was some big improvement in the passing game against Missouri, but kind of to your point, it's hard to kind of gauge how quickly this team will fix things, because it sort of felt like, okay, their defense is going to be really strong, after 2 games, and then Vanderbilt said something else in Missouri, a lot of missed tackles. So it's easy to just look at it being the run game or kind of pick out very specific things. But I think the trickiest thing about assessing this team altogether is that it does feel like it's a little bit 1 step forward, 3 steps back when you're looking at the whole picture.
All right, so Lulu, we're going to put you in charge of fixing things. Congratulations. There will be a raise. So if you had, and you said it, there's a lot of things here to fix, but if you had to pick the first one on your to-do list, which one would it be?
That's a good question. I feel like the obvious answer would be the run game, because I agree with what Shane and with Missouri, what they said after the game. Like, you have to be able to run the ball in the SEC, and regardless of what specific conference opponent South Carolina has, because, yes, they do have a difficult schedule, like, no matter who it is, you have to be able to provide more than just your quarterback's arm, and you can't put all that pressure on Lenore Sellers to deliver. I think the receivers are doing well, and I do think once that starts to click, other areas will. So I'd probably start with that, because I think that overall South Carolina's defense is talented enough to win games. I don't, Missouri, you kind of saw that happen where their defense wasn't perfect but did enough, but the offense couldn't do enough to win.
Give us an idea of, look, they're not giving game planning away. We know that. So we can sit here and we all want that, right? The media and fans alike. But Mike Shula today, where is he, in your opinion, in getting more out of Lenora Sellers so that this offense can maybe function the way it was during that big win streak last year? How close maybe do they believe they are to that kind of feeling?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I think that I probably have a different opinion than a lot of people, and I'll own that. I think that Shula's taking steps forward. I honestly didn't think that he took steps back with the play calling against Missouri. I was impressed with it to a degree, and I think that it's hard. Like, he didn't have, and I'm not saying South Carolina would have beat Vanderbilt had Lenore stayed healthy, but it's kind of hard to gauge, what Shula can do when he spent half the Vanderbilt game calling plays for Luke Doty. It's a push and pull. I definitely think South Carolina is far from where they want to be in terms of they're making steps forward, but they know they're not there yet. And I say that as a good thing. I think, to your point in the beginning, they're self-aware enough to realize they're making baby steps. do they want to make huge steps? Yes, and I think that's what they still have to do. But I do think that this last week was still at least a step in the right direction for the offense.
Hey, Lulu, the leadership thing has come up here this week because you lost a lot of leaders last year, a lot of veterans, like Shane called them grown men. And now you have guys stepping into these roles who haven't had to step into them to this extent. How do you feel like that's evolving? Because there's some things going on here where the first thought from a lot of people outside of the program be, we're the leaders, they got to step up and, shake some folks, so to speak.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this, so I'm going to try to say this in the most streamlined way. But since the moment Lenoris was named QB1, I've kind of gradually checked in with Shane, asking about Lenoris's personality and his leadership and, his kind of the vocal aspect of all of that. His parents told me last summer, before he was even named the starter, like, he's a quiet guy. That's okay. And why I think that worked so well last year is to exactly what you were saying. There were vocal leaders around him. Demetrius Knight was married with 2 kids. There was Kai Kroger. There was Kyle Kennard. There were people that balanced out Lenoris. And I talked to Shane about this right before the Clemson game last year. I was like, it's such an advantage going into it, knowing you have so many different kind of strategies to attack. You have a quarterback and a running back who, they lead by example, but then you have those voices to hold people accountable. I think Lenoris is just missing those pieces around him right now. And I know a lot of people were kind of sort of just lost the context of my question with Shane yesterday. And he was basically comparing him to Jalen Hurts in the sense, like, you can succeed as a quarterback if you're a little bit quiet. And that isn't to say Lenoris isn't harping on his receivers this year, and he is. His teammates have told me that. I know that he's grown in that vocal role, but to what Shane was saying, I think it's a little – there's been a delay in the other players and the pieces around him recognizing, okay, we need to be the ones, because we lead with our voice, and that's great, but I think they're just not recognizing maybe how loud they have to be, or sort of just still growing into that role. And that's really key. I think Lenoris obviously did some really great things last year, and I don't think he needs to change in that regard. I think he's growing. And so I just think South Carolina as a whole, the leadership isn't as obvious right now. And I think that needs to change going forward for sure. And I think it will.
Lulu Keston with us from the Greenville News. Again, Carolina, Kentucky, Saturday. Let's look ahead to next year and beyond that. Lulu, last night we got at least the opponents home and away for the next 4 full football seasons. We knew on Monday through Chris Lowe about the annual opponents. Carolina gets 5 home games next year. They've got a home-and-home scheduled with Miami, starting with the Hurricanes coming to Williams-Brice next year. Then it's home-and-home on Chapel Hill and Columbia, and then it's Raleigh with NC State. And here, in your opinion, knowing Clemson will be part of what's going on, how tenuous might those other home-and-homes out of conference be at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question, and I think that it's unique South Carolina is not the only school that has out-of-conference rivalries every year. Obviously, Shane listed a bunch when he was kind of making his point about this 9-game schedule. I do think South Carolina kind of has that sense of relief knowing who it will be every year, and that pressure that maybe other teams feel in scheduling like a non-competitive or a competitive non-conference opponent. Like, obviously, in 2027, there's 4 scheduled right now. 1 will have to be dropped. There's dynamics going forward that I think will change naturally with the 1 more SEC game. But at the same time, I think that South Carolina and Clemson, that will never lose its magic, even if right now it looks like the game might be a little bit interesting this year.
We'll see where this one goes. And Shane has mentioned, of course, hey, if everybody else is doing it, we're happy to do it. And I just wonder, Lulu, what the next mandate from the conference is. I know this, again, is an opinion question, but could you see the Southeastern Conference mandating no more games against FCS schools in the near future if they want to toughen the schedules up?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Honestly, that would not surprise me. I do think that especially with the shift of, I guess, just like powerhouse programs and the way that the college football playoff is, and, the talk and the debate about the SEC, is it still the number 1 conference, and all those conversations, I can totally see kind of making a really bold step like that really strengthens just everyone's schedule across the board.
Always appreciate your time. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you here real soon. Thank you.
Thank you both. Have a good weekend.
All right,
Thank you.
Directions, call Jay.
That's right. Yes, I'm
Will
here.
do.
I'm here. That's right. Free GPS services. She's Lulu Kesson. That's how you follow her. LULUKESIN. Lulu Kesson. GreenvilleNews.com. She does great work. Glad to have her on board. All right. We'll come back on the other side again. Speaking of that scheduling, you okay with keeping Miami, UNC, and NC State? Yes. More good football? No, that's too hard. I'll give you some early results. We'll visit Start Bench Drop. Terry opens the vault, all when the post-game show comes back. 11 minutes in front of 4 o'clock here on a Wednesday afternoon. Welcome back in as the post-game show. Jay and Terry with you. Thanks again to Lulu Keston for joining us. She's great. Appreciate her time. Braves lost today. They tried to come back. They were down 4-1, made it 4-3, but that's still a loss. So the 10-game win streak is in the books.
I thought they wouldn't lose again this year.
I was really kind of hoping they wouldn't, man. It's funny, too, is that, and I kid a little bit when I told you, hey, just finish in third. While the Braves were busy winning 10 in a row, the Marlins have won 7 in a row. So,
Think about that,
you
man.
can't catch the Marlins.
See me. You're such a better man than I am about this. My Orioles have been so underachieving and so disgusting. I just want to. I'm done.
Well,
get to 2026. I don't care what your one-loss record is to end the season. Just get this thing over with.
I'm not watching minute by minute like I would typically, and I haven't for much of the season. I will freely admit that, but I do pay attention every day, and I do read about them every day, and I do look at box scores pretty much every day.
I look at that misery. I just haven't really been.
But I'm always going to pull for him, man. And listen, I grew up enough, in enough years to still be pulling for him when there was like no hope.
The one thing I can't do, and I know people who do this, like let's say you don't like the coach or the manager, and you in your heart believe your team will never ever achieve what they should achieve as long as that person's in charge. Mm-hmm. I know people that will root against their favorite team to get the guy fired. I can't do that one. No. I can't do that.
I don't.
One.
In fact, I can't do that.
I can't do that one. I just can't. Like
now with the Braves, I'm really lucky because
you haven't had that issue.
Yeah, it hasn't been a problem. And even with Freddie Gonzalez, like it wasn't Freddie's fault, man. They had to tank the team on purpose.
And Freddie was successful early in his tenure.
He was with Bobby a long time. Then he went and he was a good manager. And they told him, basically, Bobby and Sherholtz told him, listen, you're going to be our guy, but we can't have you be our guy until you go be somebody else's guy. So he went down to Miami, and he was a good Marlins manager. And then they waited. Well, he was there, 4 years?
He was there a few years.
And then they brought him up. But that was the plan all along.
You haven't in a long time had that manager where you go, he sucks. We got to get another guy. You haven't had that
even when the Braves
time.
were bad in the 80s, like the two managers they had were Chuck Tanner and Russ Nixon. They weren't these were guys that had been successful. Chuck Tanner won the World Series in Pittsburgh,
Tanner was
man.
a really good manager.
And he won the World Series.
It's like anything. You can't take a turd and make it a diamond.
No, but when you have no players.
Exactly. You just can't.
When
it's like
Jim Hound Dog Presley is your third baseman.
Dude, I watched Mike Hargrove come to Baltimore. Here's a guy that won in Cleveland, got to the World Series, had some really good teams with the Indians, and it's like he's sitting in the dugout going, "Where the hell's Albert Bell? Where's Robbie Alomar Jr.? Where's Charles Nagy? I need some help. Where's Jose Mesa? They ain't here, dude." Yeah.
Or at least for Oriole players, where's Jim Palmer? Where's Boog Powell?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Where's Brooks? Well, Brooks is in the booth and he's 70.
Yeah,
and guess what? He's better than the third baseman you have now. So to your point, you need players.
Yes.
At the end.
I have fully come to understand and believe that, especially in college athletics.
Yes.
Go get more good players. In fact, I need to put that on a T-shirt. I got all kinds of T-shirt slogans. Now that we've seen the Gamecocks' SEC opponents over the next 4 football seasons, and we have, and knowing they'll play Clemson, do you still want home and homes with Miami, North Carolina, and NC State? Yes, more good football, or no, that's too hard. Right now, with 54.7% of the votes in, yes, more good football has roared in front.
Nice.
Because for the longest time, no was out, but 45.3% say no, that's too hard. And again, if you think there's another reason to say no, I'm all ears. I'm not trying to pick on people, but I just can't think of a reason otherwise to say no, other than that you don't want to lose.
Right, sure.
And you never want to lose, but
that also goes
sports.
To psyche of we're not good enough.
Well, I mean, that's like Kentucky. Hey, we might not be able to play Louisville.
Because we got to play
Indiana. Hey, we got to drop Virginia.
We got to play the Akron Welding Academy.
Yeah, we can't play Virginia.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, all right, let's open the ball.
Oh, this is a good one. Back in 1994, University of Miami had a very, very long win streak in college football. They were at 58 games at home win streak of 58 straight. Wow. The Washington Huskies showed up and gave them quite the beatdown. 38-20 was the final. Here's Brett Musburger at the end of the game.
And the Canes ever so slowly are getting up now. It has been some physical punishment handed out here by the Huskies.
They whooped them.
Yeah.
I'm watching some of the highlight backs. I found a whole game here on YouTube.
Yeah.
All you see is Washington defenders just pummeling the U. That was some really good Miami
games.
teams.
Wow. That's crazy.
58 straight at home, man.
And of all people, Washington.
Yeah.
That's a long flight to come down and play that
And
well.
usually West Coast to East Coast is
Yeah,
the
it's
problem.
tough, man.
Not that day.
That's tough.
They whooped them.
A lot more detail on this schedule if you haven't seen it yet. Who's playing Carolina, when and where over the next 4 years? We'll get into that. More from Shane and the coordinators. It's a busy Wednesday postgame show. All right, fall is here. Still time. There's really, you always have yard work to do, right? Especially in the South. But we do switch over a little bit from cutting the grass all the time because it's growing too fast to using our lawnmowers to also be rakes or blowers. I'm very guilty of that. I'm not even going to say guilty. I do it. But your mower's been working hard all summer. Now's a great time to return the favor at Cato's. Now through Halloween, Cato's is offering you 25% off all shop labor on service and repair work on your Toro, your Ariens, your Gravely Zero Turn. If you've got a big riding mower and you need help getting it to Cato's, they have a $100 round trip offer. They'll come get it. They'll service it. They'll bring it back to you. And don't let that worn-out equipment slow you down, as I said, during leaf season. Whether it's fresh blades, engine service, anything else you need, even a new mulch kit, get it at Cato's. 254-3711 and always online at catospowerequipment.com. 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. Welcome back in. Hour number 2 of the postgame show coming at you from the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia. He's Terry Ford, I think. I'm Jay Phillips.
As far as you know.
As far as you know.
Well, that's what my fake ID says.
You are you, and wherever you are, thank you for choosing to be with us. Thanks again to Lulu Kesson for joining us, talking Gamecock football. We'll let you hear from Coach Beamer and the coordinators coming up throughout the rest of the afternoon. Got a start bench drop that's kind of fun today based on something I heard on the Dan Patrick Show. And I took it and ran with it. We'll get back to that in a second. And a lot of you responding on the poll question that has to do with Carolina's future scheduling now that we know what the 9-game SEC schedule looks like, at least in terms of opponents and venues. That's all we know right now. We don't have dates and times. Those will come, I don't know when, sometime next spring, I guess, for some of these. But we want to. Our poll question has more to do not with the 9 games, obviously, or who Carolina's going to play in conference, but rather what the non-con looks like. But let me get back to start bench drop. Again, this morning on the Dan Patrick program, it was interesting, an organic conversation, but Todd Fritz, basically admitted to being a slow left lane driver on purpose, and that when people are in the left lane and come right up on him, he doesn't like it. He does not move over, and he believes it is the sole responsibility of the person behind him to find their way into the middle or right lane and then go around him. And he's wrong. Sorry. And they were all telling him, no, you're wrong. They even had a cop call in and explain to him how the cop would say, because Dan even asked, hey, if the guy behind Todd is speeding, but Todd won't get over, would you pull the guy for speeding? And the cop basically said, nope, I'd pull Todd over because of how he's basically the cop said it really is a safety issue.
Right.
As much as anything else.
And a traffic flow issue.
Yeah.
But safety, number one, that you don't drive 40 miles an hour in the fast lane.
I'm not saying I'm going to start that one yet, but that does, and like we said, the state of Louisiana, I want to keep repeating this, the state of Louisiana just a few months ago passed a law that will really begin to fine people and have them lose points on their license for just slow left lane driving. And technically it is a passing lane.
That's what it is, right?
Technically.
Now, I've seen states, I don't know if it's a law, but I've driven through so many states, I can't remember which ones, but there are states that have those signs. The left lane is for passing.
Oh, yeah. I think every state, I think that's a federal thing.
It might be.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I think they put those on the interstates, like
I don't know how much
like
of those
minimum
states are
speed,
laws,
things like that. There's a funny, again,
the minimum speed's 40,
40,
right?
right.
But if you go 40, we're all going to get together and we're going to have to.
Well, if you're going 40 on the interstate,
that's a problem.
And really, they should probably raise that to like at least 50 on the interstate, like minimum speed. Because again, safety. Because when you come up on somebody,
right?
And sometimes somebody's just driving slow.
And every now and then, I might be accidentally going 90, 95 miles an hour on the interstate, and somebody's going like 45 because they're looking at their phone.
Oh God.
Now, not to go off deep end here, but have you ever come up on someone like that going slow, and you go around them, and because you look at them in some way, shape, or form, and they're going that slow, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you seen them look at their phone?
Yeah, and on the interstate, I again, I'm not gonna, but I almost want to, like, I wish I had a CB or something, like, hey, or just like, hey,
get
cop,
off your phone.
Come get this guy. Well, yeah, this is a menace here. Something's going to happen to him and
I'll tell you
and
what
others.
really quick. And we'll move. So I'm on, BW Parkway in Baltimore.
Yeah, sure.
Between Baltimore and D.C. So, so I hate that road, but I had to take it driving back recently. And it's at night. It's like, she's on at 2 o'clock
It's a nice
in the morning.
drive, actually.
It's a beautiful place when there's an accident. BW Parkway is a parking lot when it's an accident.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
But so I'm on BW Parkway, and there's a guy in a Mustang, a beautiful bright orange Mustang. And he is in between both lanes in the middle, going 35 miles an hour on BW Parkway.
Well, that's not good.
And he won't move.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's on. I don't know what he's doing. But my guy was blocking traffic from going by him, going 35 miles an hour. And BW Parkway's 55.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I've
never seen that
at
before.
At that point, I'm sorry, Mr. BMW. I didn't mean to scrape the side of your car, but I did.
Oh, let me tell you what.
And it's going to be your fault.
You know how I got by? Because somebody tried to get him on the right side, and he went to block them, and I fired left.
Nice.
I got my opening.
Nice.
But yeah,
Like playing a video game.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. But anyway. Go ahead.
Last time I was on that road, I think we saw like 6 different flocks of turkeys just hanging out.
BW Parkway's pretty.
No, it's nice, man.
It's it's a little hilly
it's nice.
thing. It's very nice.
It's not an interstate. It's just
It's a parkway.
Yeah.
But if you get one accident on that thing,
Yeah, I
you're
believe
spending the night.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So start, bench, drop. 8 a.m. leaf blower guy, loud talker at a theater or concert, or slow left lane driver. Start, bench, drop, those things that just get under your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have our buddy Joe Pollock ask, is 8 a.m. leaf blower guy okay on weekdays? I'm like, really, I guess in my mind, that probably is more of a Saturday, Sunday.
No, this is the Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. leaf blower.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Joe.
I
Saturday,
should,
Sunday.
I
leaf
should
blower.
probably put weekend, but I'm not going to change it now because it's
Nah,
been
it's
out there
fine.
too long.
It's fine. But
But-
I think we all.
But even
look
8
at it.
a.m., 8 a.m. weekday. I mean, look, if you're like a professional landscaper, you got to get going. I get it. So you need to do
But
your job.
the Saturday, Sunday, 8 a.m. leaf blower guy.
But there may have been someone that lives not a next door neighbor, but there may have been a near me neighbor the other day on Saturday at it's like 7:40, and I'm like, dude, just can you wait? Do something else for an hour.
Come on, man.
You
And-
know?
You know, and some neighborhoods in the whole homeowners thing or whatever, that you can't do that before a certain time.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, yeah. No, I live in the city, so we don't have an HOA.
But I'll tell you something, man. There's
Oh.
a guy somewhere in my neighborhood. I haven't found him yet. He is 8 a.m. lawnmower guy.
Yeah, anything, any
I'm
power
gonna
tool.
tell you now.
Leaf blower is the most annoying, perhaps, but any power
I'm a
tool.
non-violent human being.
Right.
But if I find out who this person is,
Yeah.
I'm going to run him over with his own lawnmower.
Well, no, you don't do that. You just go to his house at like 3 a.m. and you just turn a blower on it and leave.
That's
You know, just
that.
turn it on and put it on his front porch
That
and
would be
then
fun.
leave.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
I like that better than running him over. Even though I want to
You're
run
like,
him
who the
over
hell's
here.
running a blower? And it's like, I don't know, bud, but that's what you get.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
anyway, hit us. So we got a few here. Let me get to a couple. Let's see. This one's funny. John says, start, slow left lane driver. Bench, slow left lane driver. Drop, slow left lane driver.
And by the way, honestly, there's no wrong answer here because these are all annoying.
Yeah. Steven says, start the loud talker at a theater or concert. Bench, the 8 a.m. leaf blower guy. And drop the slow left lane driver. So the slow left lane driver bothers Steven the least.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, and really, for some people, it depends on if you're in a hurry, if you're on the interstate, because if you get to them and you're not in a hurry for some reason, you just go, okay, I'll get by you in a second. But if you're trying to get somewhere, that guy drives you insane.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no doubt.
No, I don't like that. Robert says, by the way, that a loud adult talker at the movies has no place in a civilized.
I don't.
And that's what for those of you who mentioned it or missed it earlier, I mentioned that a few years ago, my wife and I went to see Harry Connick Jr. and his fantastic big band at the township. And there was this dude who was, again, clearly, whether it was a first date or not, I'm not sure. They were clearly not a couple because there was not, you can tell when, you can tell. And this dude wouldn't shut up during the show. I mean, Harry's playing all his hits and all his tunes, and the band sounds awesome. And, it's a great New Orleans big band jazz. And I love Harry Connick. Dude wouldn't shut up. I mean, song after song for like 20, 30 minutes, just wouldn't shut up. And I'm like, bro, you can't have anything that interesting to say to this girl while you brought her to a concert that's like, I don't know, $75 a ticket?
I don't get it.
Like, what do you, like,
I don't get it.
So.
Yeah.
But again, at the theater, like, why you can't, you paid money. Shut up.
You ever get the loud talker at the table next to you at the restaurant?
Oh, man. We have a Disney World story about that. Not just us. We were at one of Disney World's nicer restaurants. This is like 10 years ago. And there's this family. There's like 8 of them. Terry, you'd have thought that it was like their Christmas dinner at their house.
I know what you're.
And this is a nice restaurant. Instead of kicking them out, the management and like our server, and they're going to all the tables. Basically, long story short, like the Phillipses got comped dessert.
Nice.
They brought my wife and me like another half of the wine. The wine, we got a nice bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm.
They brought us another half a bottle. And they were doing this.
Bad.
They
It
were
must have
doing
been
this for all
bad.
kinds of people. And,
Oh,
and,
wow.
you know, and I know at one point the manager went over to like the mom, who basically, I don't know what she said to him, but it, you know, or what he said to her, it had zero effect.
I was just, it didn't work. Didn't work.
So, yeah, but yeah, like that too. You know.
The worst one, girlfriend and I were out eating like last month or something, breakfast. And it's kind of in the morning still, right? And these three people were at the table next to us, and it was like they had a bullhorn. And they are so loud. And we can't hear each other. It's so loud, right?
Yeah.
And so, and my girlfriend, again, the Philly's starting to bow up in her. and so the server comes over. Thank God for this. She walks over and she's trying to get our order, and she can't hear us because of these three people. So the server turns around in the most beautiful Baltimore ever. Hey, yo, hun, I'm trying to get an order. Can you turn the volume down on the voice? You and your pals, okay? They didn't say another word for like 15 minutes.
Well, because sometimes that's, you know, you just have to, and maybe some people don't mean to.
Yeah.
I know. But anyway. So,
anyway.
Start, bench, drop those things. We'll have
This is a
some more.
good one, by the way. Nice job,
I
by
try.
you.
I try. But
That's a good one.
again, 8 a.m. leaf blower guy, loud talker at a theater or concert.
See, I like the fact that you don't tell me these anymore. I enjoy
Yeah.
them more now. And
And,
you spring them on me at 3:15.
And slow left lane
Mm-hmm.
driver. All right. And again, our other poll question, we'll get back into this, and we'll come back on the other side with the full run of the opponents. But South Carolina does now know who it's going to be playing. Remember, starting in 26, 9 SEC football games. Next year, Carolina has 5 at home. They'll do the same in 28. But now that we know that, and you know Carolina's going to play Clemson, so there's that mandated Power 4 game, obviously. Carolina has that one easily built in. Do you still, as a Gamecock fan, want home and homes with Miami, North Carolina, and NC State, which are on the schedule, by the way, from 26 through 31? A, yes, more good football, or B, nope, that's too hard. We'll come back with some updated results. We'll go over that schedule for you when the postgame show returns.
Check on the roads. We do have some accidents. Quick check on the roads. We do have some accidents. Fontaine Road at Two Notch Road. Also Garner's Ferry Road at McCord's Ferry Road. I-26 westbound right before the Piney Grove Road exit. That's exit 104. 77 southbound after Fort Jackson Boulevard at exit 10.
Welcome back in. 18 minutes after 4 o'clock on this Wednesday afternoon. Speaking of afternoons, let's go 48 hours from now. Actually, starting earlier than that, we'll be out at Savage Craft for our Football Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also right over that way.
Which way?
That way?
Mm-hmm. So it's west of here,
Yep.
and it's in Columbia. So where would it be?
No, it's in West Columbia.
There you go.
Yep.
Look at you.
West Columbia.
Telling you, man.
Yep, but
Human
it's right over there.
GPS.
That way.
Quite impressive.
Stay on Gervais Street. That turns, it's still number 1. Go across the bridge, Meeting Street, and then it's right there.
Right there.
Right there. It's a fun place, man.
It is cool. We've been there a few times. All good.
They got like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you can do stuff outside. And,
Yeah. I like that. Last time we were there, we did a show up on the 3rd level, way up top.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
And they had beer.
Well, let's face it. That's the most important thing of this whole conversation. They had beer.
Yes. Speaking of conversations, Nathan and Ty want to weigh in. Nathan, good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, Nathan.
Doing good, guys. This one was easy for me because that left lane driver is my starter, and it should be a law in the state of South Carolina. If somebody's poking the left lane, I could pull a Dale Earnhardt Sr. and knock him out the way. It just infuriates me. If you don't know what the gas is, get the far right and drive like a grandma if you want to. My bench would be the leaf blower guy. That's annoying, especially early on Saturday morning. You're trying to sleep in and somebody's blowing leaves. And then my drop would be the loud talker in the movie theater. That doesn't bother me, but that left lane driver drives me absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Well, there should be. I don't know if the law should be that, but I am Nathan. Thank you, buddy, as always.
I think trading paint should be illegal if you're driving 40 miles an hour.
Take the law into your own hands.
That's right. Charles Bronson action from back in the day.
I guess I'm always amazed at, because every time you drive on the interstate, that happens a few times, no matter where you're going, no matter where you are. And I'm like, what is it about it that you don't understand? But then that's why today I think on Dan Patrick, that's why I think the guys were so baffled. Like Todd, they were telling him, and he was like, no, it's not my responsibility. And they're like, no, that's not. Yes, it is. It was like the lack of awareness sometimes. Like, I can just drive and then I can go slow. No, like it's just so, yeah. Thank you, Nathan. Ty, how you doing, bud? Welcome in.
Hey, Ty. Ty.
One more on Ty.
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 Hey, buddy.
Ty.
Ty. Okay.
Ty.
Sorry, Ty. Call back if you want.
Yeah. Right, there you go. But that's start bench drop today. Again, 8 a.m. leaf blower guy. Primarily on a weekend, I suppose. I didn't put that in, but yeah, primarily.
Primarily weekend.
Yeah. Again, loud talker at a theater or concert. I have a story. And the slow left lane driver.
Nice.
On the interstate. In the meantime, South Carolina now knows who it will be playing in SEC competition over the next 4 seasons. All this announced last night. We knew on Monday via the great Chris Lowe that Carolina's annual opponents were going to be Georgia, Kentucky, and Florida, which I'm all here for. Next year, South Carolina will host Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. And in conference play, they will travel to Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, and Oklahoma. And then it switches up. Now, again, your annuals remain, but in 27, you will host Florida, LSU, Missouri, and Texas. So Texas will come to Williams-Brice in a couple of years. And Carolina will travel to Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Vanderbilt. Then in 2028, that away slate will come to Columbia. And you add, Georgia's there too. So Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, Oklahoma come to Carolina, or to Columbia, rather. And you go to Florida, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. And then finally in 2029, you host Auburn, Florida, Mississippi, Vanderbilt, travel to Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Missouri, and Texas. None of these are, look, they're all hard.
Yeah.
And I know the 5 and 4, that is one of the huge things that coaches were really concerned about. I get it. Either you stay at 8 and nobody ever sees anybody, or you go to 10 and nobody wanted to do that either. Now, I'll raise my hand.
Yeah, you wanted that.
We proved that you can play 10. Proved it. Right? I mean, you proved it. But you don't want to do it every year for some reason. And I get it because somebody has to lose.
Right.
But one of the reasons that it took so long for the Southeastern Conference to finally get to this point, as we all know, is that they needed some level, and we still don't know what it looks like yet, what it feels like yet, but they needed some level of assurance that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee was going to take strength of schedule into even greater account than they did last year, and I do believe they did last year. They took it into account.
How far did it go into account?
I don't know. I don't know. But the fact that the truth is 3 9-3 teams were the first 3 teams left out, and there were several 10-2 teams and a fellow 9-3 team in Missouri that was not even in the conversation.
I just feel like I get one loss record. You got to win games, and winning games is always important and vital. But I really believe. Look, no offense. I'm not picking on Indiana, but I just think there were 9-3 teams who played tougher schedules that you should have valued. But you look at the loss, and you and I have had this conversation forever. Until a 9-3 team wins a national championship, we're always going to look at that L column and give that more weight than who you play.
Well,
that's
generational with college football. And that's why I keep saying, as someone who has been following college football for a couple of generations, we, the collective college football world, have to get over you're only good if you're undefeated.
Here's my question. Does anybody look at the one-loss record of the national champion in basketball, in men's basketball?
No. Or baseball.
No.
Or, again, nobody cares that Eli Manning's 9-7 regular season Giants won a Super Bowl.
But you go to college football, we still hang on to the one-loss record.
Yeah. And, again, I understand why.
To a point, sure.
But, again, the days of voting for a champion are long gone.
And I think we've gotten smarter on the value of opponent.
Yes. So, again, 10-2 BYU, not in the conversation last year. 10-2 Miami, not in the conversation last year. 9-3 Missouri with a very weak non-con, not in the conversation last year. But South Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi were in the conversation because they had a better strength of schedule. Didn't matter. So I'm not here to defend. I'm just saying perhaps one of those, and again, the joke I've made is, somebody in Burbank, all right, not somebody at a conference office, and not even somebody in Bristol. Somebody in Burbank called somebody and said, "You're telling me that you've selected Southern Methodist instead of Alabama?"
Absolutely.
And they're like, well, what we...
They won the ACC regular season championship. You understand that, right? What the hell is that?
And then the same person in Burbank said, "You're choosing to put Southern Methodist over Alabama."
Yeah.
And then they hung up. And then they hung up. And then somebody went gulp. And this year, maybe that doesn't happen. And that's not to pick on Southern Methodist.
No,
anyway, so it's hard, and it's going to be hard.
But I think the SEC, that's what you have to do. You have to go, look, strength of schedule's got to matter more.
Yeah.
And play's got to matter more.
And the SEC, just to remind everybody, has continued its mandate of at least one non-con Power 4 opponent. Now, South Carolina's is built in, and that takes me to the poll question because South Carolina, thank goodness, and I am so happy. Look, for Carolina and Clemson both. Carolina, has Miami, North Carolina, NC State for the next 6 years. Clemson has games. I know they got games with Georgia. There's one year where Carolina has Georgia, Notre Dame, and South Carolina out of conference.
Oh, you mean Clemson?
What'd I say?
You said
Carolina. Okay, yeah, where Clemson has Georgia, Carolina, and Notre Dame out of conference. Good for you, Clemson. Seriously, man. Seriously. I know some people in these airwaves don't want to hear me say something like that, but all I am here for is the best possible matchups every single weekend in college football. And whoever we is, there's not enough striving for that on a regular basis. Penn State seems almost proud of the fact that they played 3 high school teams before they opened conference play.
Yeah,
and you know what else they did, Terry? They took a bleeping week off.
Well, you needed a week off after that gauntlet. Needed a week off.
They played 3 high school teams,
right,
and they took a week off.
It was tough. You got to get a rest. You need to rest up after the 3 high school teams because you got Oregon coming in.
So I'm pulling for Oregon.
Yeah, me too.
But
Not
anyway,
gonna lie to you. I am
so
too.
do you still want Miami on the schedule? Do you still want North Carolina on the schedule? That's the question today. Yes, more good football. No, that's too hard. Right now, it's 53%. Yes, more good football. So that's 47, obviously, with no, that's too hard. I'm a yes. And
Oh yeah, I am too.
and I
Sure,
understand the
yes.
drawbacks. I'm not naive, y'all. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this a long time. But I just television partners, ticket sales, blah blah blah, all those things, new revenue streams, again, this isn't SC State's fault because Carolina can set a price. A large bulk of the tickets for the SC State game are $25.
Yeah.
In 2025. Now, if you've got Miami coming in, that's a $75 ticket.
Oh sure.
Now, is the likelihood of getting beat higher, or not likelihood, the chance of getting beat higher? I don't want to say likelihood, but chance of getting beat higher? Yeah. But is the game better?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess the idea is if you're a fan, and be honest, I mean, would you rather, and if the ticket prices were the same, because some people go to the South Carolina State game because they can afford that and they can't afford the
And
Miami
I
game.
understand that.
But let's say the tickets are all the same, what game, as a fan, would you rather go see?
Yeah, well, chew on that. We got more on this for you, but hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line with anything on Start Bench Drop and on this on Twitter. You're listening to the postgame show.
If you're looking to do stuff for your home, improve things in your home, maybe it's just you want a new look, or maybe you just need more efficiency and better quality when it comes to appliances. Or maybe you want to redo some stuff in the bathroom. How about have a tub? You can sit in the tub and go and have a bath. When's the last time you had a bath? Maybe you want new lighting, new fixtures, new plumbing. Maybe you're looking for a specific type of appliance. You just go to the Nest. Now, you formerly the Nest, now Kreger Showrooms on Gadsden and the Vista. You call 803-978-2025, Kreger Showrooms. They bring you in, set you an appointment. You kind of tell them what you're looking for, your goals, your vision, your budget, because they can fit your budget no matter what. You go over, see the folks at Kreger Showrooms. Again, 803-978-2025. Call, set the appointment, change up that home, make it what you want. Call Kreger Showrooms. All right, our first look at the traffic. We have a few accidents to report so far. 77 southbound at Fort Jackson Boulevard, that's exit 10. I-26 westbound before Piney Grove Road at exit 104. Also accident Garner's Ferry Road at McCord's Ferry Road. Fontaine Road at Two Notch, an accident as well. Do not forget, Gamecocks Game Day gets all the festivities rolling on Saturday, 2:30, a 7:45 kickoff. We'll be at Jay's Corner doing the pregame show. Come on over, great food, lots of beverage options right across from Williams-Brice. 7:45 South Carolina, Kentucky. You can hear it right here on the game in Columbia and our affiliate in Myrtle Beach. More from the postgame show, from Shane, from the schedule, all coming up on the game.
Injury-wise, we'll have a report for you tomorrow night. Nobody that we'd say right now is out. It was good to see Judge Collier back at practice today. Hopefully he'll continue to trend the right direction and see where guys are tomorrow when we release that availability report.
That was, of course, yesterday, which means that availability report is tonight. Thanks to the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm for bringing us the injury report. Judge Collier back, and I do know Clayton White today, in listening to his press conference, mentioned that they're working Judge back in. Exactly what his availability is for the weekend, we do not know. I imagine we see his name tonight as questionable. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
You know, at least on the first one.
Right. Exactly. And he'll probably, if he practices, there's no problem. He'll get upgraded through the week.
Yeah. So we'll see. But that comes, that'll be out tonight, a little after 8, typically. And then we'll hear Shane again tomorrow night at 7 o'clock right here on most of these airwaves. Speaking of Coach Beamer, let's get back into a little bit more what he had to say yesterday. Number 18, and we'll let you hear from Mike Shula coming up during the Gamecock Notebook in the 5 o'clock hour. But number 18 on today's list, Terry Ford, please, sir. Here's Shane on what they're trying to get done from a play calling perspective.
I thought it was, look, when you don't win the game, the play calling's not good enough and the coaching's not good enough, because ultimately that's what we're judged on. When you look around the country, when you lose a football game, the guy that gets the blame is the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and then the quarterback usually. I mean, that's just the way it is. NFL, college, high school, that's just what you sign up for. The plan that we're putting together, I'm in all the offensive and defensive meetings during the week, special teams meetings. I know what the game plan is. I know why plays are in the game plan. I know why we're calling it. Just like there's decisions every game that I look back and wish that maybe I had done differently, or plays that players would like to have back. There's plays that I'm sure Mike would like to have back. I don't know which play calls you're referring to or which one fans are. I thought it was fine. I mean, I'm sure there's plays that Mike would like to have back. I mean, yeah, when you're on the 2-yard line and we take a 20-yard sack, hindsight 2020 says, you should have run the ball there. But I'm on the headphones, and if I didn't like the opportunity, we're going to run the ball, or we're going to have 4 plays to score right there, and we just hit a big play down there to the 2-yard line. You got to play action, and then we can come back and run it 3 times if we want to. So every play call that's made, I hear it. If I have an issue with something, I will certainly address it. But ultimately, when you don't win the game, it's not good enough. Anything, offense, defense, and special teams.
Listen, he makes a fine point there that he's on, and he can certainly override it. I get what they wanted to do, and Mike explained more of that today, and you'll hear what he had to say about that specific play a little bit later on. But I'm going to. Spoiler alert, he basically said, look, if it hits, it's a great play.
Well, that's the way this always works, right, Jay? I mean,
and you can't take – and look, play. To be fair, if they had a good play on that they all liked, I don't want to just blame the play call. Right. Lenoris can't take that sack.
Well, you can't take that sack at all. No, and, if you're Rasul Faison, you got to make the block, and if you're Lenoris, you got to recognize it and get rid of the ball. Yeah. You can't – look, a lot of play calling is execution. And no one's sitting here saying Mike Shula has no blame in the way this offense. No, you're the offensive coordinator. The buck stops with you because that's your gig, right? But execution if you execute a play right, the play's great. You and I joke all the time about Nebraska in the 90s, the Packers of the 60s.
Right.
Ran 3 plays.
Great. Do it again.
Walk up to the line of scrimmage. We're going to pitch a ball to Lawrence Phillips on 2. He's going left.
Right.
Try to stop it.
Right.
Execution makes every play caller a genius. And that's just and to that point, if you run that play, right, and Linares hits it for a touchdown, man, they were expecting you to run it and you threw it. Man, that's master class. But it didn't work, so you go like this. Why the hell don't you run the ball?
Right.
4 straight times. If you run it 4 straight times up the middle, it doesn't work. What do you say? What the hell are you doing running 4 straight times up the
why
middle?
didn't you try something different?
What are we doing?
Yeah, why didn't you throw it out to the flat?
It's just our human nature to, when it doesn't work, we second guess.
But I don't have excuse me, I don't have a problem so much with the second guessing. I may second guess myself. But like I say, on that play, you know, in addition to could you have called a better play or something different? Sure. But again, Rasul, you got to block.
Yeah, you cannot whiff on that block.
And Linares, when you realize, that man's coming free, then you got to get rid of the ball.
Right, and look,
and those are all things that you work on and you know, but knowing and doing are two different things.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's the one thing. Look, I raise my hand. I've been focused on the play calling as well. You know, why aren't you having the special playmaker on your football team have more opportunities to make special plays? We've been talking about it, but so no one's sitting here saying, "Oh, let Mike Shula off the hook for play calling." No, not at all. You know, I mean, we talked about that play. If you're going to run it, I like to see the play roll out your quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, but the point is, execution's also a vital part of all this, and you've got to execute the plays. What made all those Missouri zone stretch plays good? They worked.
They worked. And in Wilhelm's analytical breakdown, I know you saw it, he actually talked about how South Carolina stopped Missouri more than, at least initially.
For negative plays.
Yeah, for negative plays. It's just that Carolina didn't have any positive plays, whereas Missouri had a whole mess of them.
Exactly.
But that you actually stuffed Missouri more often up front than they did you, but it was all for naught.
Right, because their success rates or their explosive plays or whatever was so much higher than yours. The fact that their negative play rate was higher, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because your rate of stopping them at the end of the day just was not where you needed to be. I thought it was interesting too when Will broke it down. Basically we talk about the success rate of the offense. Well, the defense, their defensive success rate is among the worst in the SEC too. So you got both sides of the ball on a down-to-down basis is not getting it done to an average. And, I mean, that's the thing. I thought Will, too, was interesting what he brought up, Jay, with the matchups moving forward are better for South Carolina than Vanderbilt and Missouri.
Yep.
Because when you aren't good defensively in the success rate department, teams that do what Vanderbilt and Missouri do are the worst matchup for you. Because it's always 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. Right. But you get teams with lower success rates, and if you as a defense do what you've been doing, you got a better chance of maybe hanging in there.
Again, we'll hear more from Mike coming up in a little bit, and you know, you guys can begin to see for yourself what it is that they are trying to do. You know, look, and I just again fix a lot of what you're doing wrong. Mm-hmm. And we're not having the same conversations. There's always something to question, you know. But anyway, again, we've got some good hits here on Twitter about the poll question on the Gamecock schedule. Again, I've said, you know, now you know who you're going to play in conference games over the next 4 seasons. Do you still want home and homes with Miami, North Carolina, and NC State? Yes, more good football. That's at 53.5% to no, that's too hard at 46.5%. Ryan brings up a good point that I had actually made a note of, and I'm glad that he has said this too. He says he voted yes. He says, but I don't want 6 home games. Currently in 27, with playing at Miami, there are only 6 home games. With 9 conference games, it's going to be harder to schedule these games because home and away conference games aren't equal, and schools aren't going to want to lose the revenue. I agree. And that is one I won't say that I don't have an answer for, because I do have an answer. And it's just going to be, well, then you might just have to have 6 home games. But I understand that, Ryan, because the vast majority of college football programs, at least at South Carolina's level, at the SEC level, the major college level, are used to 7 home games.
Yep.
I understand that. And again, I really don't have an answer for you because the SEC worked with Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, and Florida to make certain that the years they go to their in-state out-of-conference rival, they get the 5th home game.
It balances the home and away, yeah.
But because this was scheduled so far out, this Miami home and home, again, that's one of the reasons that Carolina had Miami come to Columbia next year. It's
Right.
because Carolina's going to Clemson next year. Yeah. So, then the following year you would have been fine with it in the old way.
Right.
So I don't really have what I would say, Terry, is a satisfactory answer to that. But we'll discuss more on the other side. A little Jay or nay as well. Maybe Terry can Jay or nay me on this question when the postgame show returns. Guys, when you're getting a little older, not feeling like you used to, it's time to go see Dr. Dan Blocknight and his team at the men's clinic. Don't be the guy that says, I'll tough it out. It'll go away. It'll be fine. Or don't be embarrassed by certain things that are troubling you these days because these are medical professionals. This is what they deal with. You get a one-on-one consultation. Dan and the team get to know you. What isn't happening for you? There's a whole host of things. Don't just put it into one specific area, bedroom, weight room, boardroom, whatever it is, man. There's a lot of things that are going on, and as you get older, it's, believe it or not, more normal than you think. But these folks are dedicated to making you feel like yourself again with a treatment that is just right for you. No magic pills, no one size fits all. Do it for yourself and do it for your family. Call 803-875-MENS. And see Dan Blocknight in the men's clinic. Well, welcome back in, Jay and Terry with you.
We're sad.
I know.
We're absolutely sad.
Well, we're making a case for our own sponsors here. Welcome back in to
Hey, do we set an appointment together? All right. Typically, we don't bore you too much with behind the scenes stuff. So,
What was the specific question? Is that we it was about Carolina's schedule, and I didn't write it down because I was
Right.
doing something else.
and
I
you
was like,
said it, and I
just
started doing
totally
three things
blanked
during the
on
break.
this-
So
on the-
Jay says to me in my ear, well, "What was that
what
question?
was
we
the
were gonna
specific
ask?"
question?
And I'm like, I don't remember
forgot.
either.
Anyway.
So
But we were talking about 6 home games, 6 road games in 2027 as a potential. Look, Jeremiah Donati's going to have to work quickly, and as I understand it too, just based on looking at their schedule, South Carolina currently seems to be the qualifier, if you will, for Miami's one now mandated
yeah.
Power 4 non-conference.
So
game.
what you're going to do if you decide not
In-
to play
in 27,
Miami,
I'm talking
right?
about.
You're going didn't mind not that people care here about Miami, but now Miami has to go scramble to get their 10th game if you
Right.
decide to stop that series. I mean, you have time, but still, that's how this domino affects.
Well, and look,
all the
and
way
here
through.
again, and I know this isn't going to happen tomorrow, as much as I would like to wave my magic wand and have it happen. But if you're going to mandate one, I would like to see the conferences. Look, let me just cut to the chase, because I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I wish the Power 4 conferences would only play one another. You have your 9 conference games. Everybody has that now, because the ACC, if you didn't see the story, the ACC this week is going to start 9 next year as well. So now that's the Power 4 conferences all have 9 conference games. I'd like to see the other 3 amongst themselves and find a way to rotate. Now, again, there's a few, not just Carolina, Clemson, and the ones in the SEC. Iowa State. You could have Oklahoma State come back. I'm probably missing one somewhere else that could be one. Heck, you could have Missouri and Kansas play each other every year out of conference.
That's some good hate.
I mean, things like that. But you can, I'd rather see that. And I know that makes some of you really upset with someone like me, but
See, I don't think someone should get upset about it because again, that's just how you feel, and I see where you're going. 'Cause you're going for more competitive games. See, my thing, I get torn on it because the Group of 5 has some high quality teams. Like you just saw Arkansas soil themselves against Memphis. You see this happen with that second or third layer of the Power League. They get beat by these Group of 5 squads. Right. But then you have the really bad Group of 5 squads, like when Akron rolled in here a couple years ago getting their check for the equestrian team. Right. So it's almost like there's a split in the Group of 5. Yes.
Admitting it.
Joe Morrison, right? He stood
Joe
up
Moorhead.
Joe Moorhead. He stood up and said, hey, yeah, man, we're just here to get a check so we can pay for the horses.
Yeah.
So I'm always torn on that one because there are some high-level Group of 5 squads, but then you have some ones that really aren't competitive.
Yeah. All right, let's play game show music and see what happens.
Oh, I got a new one for you here, Chief.
Oh, new game show music?
Can you remember this one?
No.
Love Connection, baby.
Okay.
So we got that going.
All right.
All right, Jay or nay? College Football Playoff Committee, they met for 4 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
Still 12 teams.
Yeah.
By this time next year, there will be an expanded playoff. Jay or nay?
Ooh, by this time next year. Well, they got to decide by December 1st, so I'm still going to stick with Jay, that they will get there.
All right. The Tennessee Titans, who are 0-3, traded a starting corner for low-round draft picks to the New York Jets 3 weeks into the season. A lot of folks are now looking at, are you tanking already after 3 games? Are you trying to lose on purpose after 3 games? Of course, the Titans are denying it. But does that smell like a tank job, Jay or nay?
Jay, it's early. I mean, you got a chance. And again, you play in a bad division. So a couple of things go your way in the middle of the season, and by the final third of the season, you could still be in the hunt. So
it's a bad look.
Smells bad.
Just a bad look.
Smells bad.
All right. The Detroit Tigers at one point had a 12.5 game lead in the American League in their division.
Yeah.
They are now tied with the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
Because the Guardians started winning games, the Tigers pulled a phenomenal choke job. Would it be, Jay or nay, in your opinion, the greatest choke job you've ever seen if the Tigers do indeed.
Oh my goodness.
Not win the division.
Well, I hate recency bias for this because I'd like to go back and find ones. I know
when
it's
the
not
Angels choked.
Yeah,
years and years
and I
ago?
know it's not necessarily a choke job, but that year that Seattle won 112 games or whatever,
And got beat in the playoffs.
and then lost in the first round.
Lost to the Yankees.
But what the Tigers are doing is bad. But here's the thing: Tigers still have a couple of, and they get to play Cleveland this
They're playing them
weekend.
head to head.
So if I'm Detroit, I'm like, we can't let that happen. But would it be? I guess it's right up there with
And the
them,
team
man.
that catches you is not great.
Look, I remember when the Braves overtook the Giants with a 10.5
Both
game
of them won
deficit.
100
man.
and some games, too.
Yeah,
Remember that?
So that was. I'll go with that one.
Check on the traffic. We have a few going on here as we reach the 5 o'clock hour. North Lake Drive at Columbia Avenue, also I-20 westbound at Broad River Road, exit 65, Farrow Road at North Brickyard Road, East Boundary Road at Fairway Drive, Blythewood Road at I-77. Coming up, we have the 5 o'clock news, sponsored by our buds at Integrated Media here on The Game. Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Go to 1075thegame.com to register. Pot is, I believe, up to 400 coming up this week. 300 or 400, I'll double check. But it's a little bit of bucks. Post-game show, more coming up.
It is 5 o'clock news time here on this Wednesday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the postgame show. Along with Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. So much that we're doing with you today. Pretty fun start, bench, drop. Got a very interactive poll question on Carolina's future scheduling habits. We'll continue all those for you. Gamecock Notebook coming up as well. But we'll start with a little bit more sound from Coach Shane Beamer. Gamecocks have Kentucky on Saturday night. Lenora Sellers was very good through the air in the loss at Missouri, but nobody on the Gamecock football team could run the ball. Here's Shane Beamer on just what it is that he and the coaching staff do with Lenoris after a performance like Saturday.
Yeah, it's like anybody. You coach it, you teach it. He did a lot of, really good for us last week. The throws that he made and managing the offense, not turning the ball over. There's a lot of good to build on with Lenoris. There's no question about that. We've got to be better around him, players and coaches, but you hold him accountable that this can't happen, and he knows that. And on that play, the sack we took on the 2-yard line, I think it came up on, Jack or somebody asked it on the teleconference the other night that there were some issues around him on that play. But at the same time, ultimately, he's got to be smart and get rid of the ball, and he knows that. And so to answer your question, it's coach him hard just like anybody, but also there's a lot of really great things that he did that night that gave us a chance to win. And, if we complete that third down ball on the next to last drive to Dre and we catch that thing and go score, or we block the punt there at the end of the game where we ran into him, but we're about a half yard away from blocking it. We're, the mood in here and the questions about the game are completely different, but that's sports. It's a fine line. And right now we're on the other side way too often of the line, the side of the line that we need to be on. But Lenoris, I told the team this morning, when he's at his best, there's not another quarterback in the country I'd rather have. And that hasn't changed.
We'll have more from Shane and Mike Shula as well coming up in our Gamecock Notebook. In the meantime, last night, the Southeastern Conference announced the future football schedules over the next 4 years. We knew on Monday that South Carolina's annual opponents, again, they're very carefully letting all of us know not to use the words or the word permanent opponent, but instead use annual opponent, because some of them are subject to change after the 4-year cycle. But Carolina in 26 is going to play here in Columbia, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and A&M. And they will travel to Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, and Oklahoma. We'll get into it. We've had a lot about this today, so I won't not read all 4 years of it. But Shane yesterday, and this was before the announcement of who would play whom, when, and where, Shane was asked, because by then the proverbial cat was out of the bag, which I think he alludes to here on the Gamecocks' 3 annual opponents.
Steve told me I can comment on it. If I get fined, fine him. No, we did not. But what is it? Kentucky, Florida, Georgia. Is that right? Allegedly. About 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when there was the talk of potentially having 3 permanent opponents that you were going to play each year, they told us who that would be. That was 2 or 3 years ago, and 2 or 3 years ago it was Florida, Kentucky, and Georgia. So that aspect of it didn't change. I didn't have a conversation about it. When we had league meetings in Destin back in May, we didn't discuss that. When we had head coach meetings with the ADs in New Orleans back in February, we didn't discuss who they were. Jeremiah and our administration maybe did. I know they had an athletic directors meeting 1 or 2 weeks ago in person. That was maybe something they discussed, but nobody asked me for my opinion. They didn't ask me my opinion on 8 games or 9 games either. So I just coach the team, or try to, and whoever they tell us to, whenever they tell us to play them, we'll be there.
Good answer. And look, I don't think many coaches or athletics directors had a whole lot of input on this, if only because the Southeastern Conference office was using some type of algorithm, to try and find the proper competitive balance with these, knowing full well that there were several school, like for instance, with Tennessee, it was virtually known who Tennessee's 3 were always going to be. Mm-hmm. With Georgia and Alabama, you knew they were going to have 2 right out of the gate. With Texas, you knew they were going to have two right out of the gate.
It felt like Texas were good. They were good. The three they got, you go, okay, that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about Arkansas, it's kind of like why Carolina's playing Florida. If Arkansas were really, really good right now, Terry, I don't know that Arkansas is there for Texas, but because Arkansas is more middling.
It's a great point.
That's where they are. I mean, that's why Florida's on Carolina's, because Florida isn't, I mean, Georgia's really good. Kentucky, not so much. Florida in the middle. Same thing with Carolina. I mean, you're kind of in the middle.
And that's what they tried to do. And you make a great point about Arkansas, because Arkansas wanted Texas bad.
Yes.
Because they hate Texas from back in the old Southwest Conference days. But if Arkansas is what they were, 3 years ago when they won 9 games?
If they're doing that a few years in a row, then perhaps that math doesn't work.
Right, they're not getting A&M,
Right.
Oklahoma, and another good team, to your point.
And that's why LSU people, I've seen a lot of LSU folks complaining about not getting Alabama, and it's almost as if they just don't seem to, or I guess they understand, they just don't care that the SEC, again, was trying to provide as much competitive balance as possible. Now, some will argue, yeah, so they gave Alabama, Mississippi State because they want Bama to have an easy game. Well, not necessarily. But, again, part of it is also geography, and Starkville and Tuscaloosa are literally the two closest campuses to one another in this conference. So there's
part of it,
that.
too. And here's the other thing, and this is why this will get investigated again down the road, because let's say Mississippi State gets really good. Now you got to revisit Alabama's 3,
Yeah,
right?
You would, and you would.
Or to your point about Arkansas, let's say Arkansas got really good all of a sudden, and then A&M was A&M and Oklahoma's Oklahoma.
Because Texas is going to keep those two.
Yes.
And Alabama's going to always have Auburn and Tennessee.
Yes.
And Georgia's going to always have Auburn and Florida. Yeah, there's just some that are going to be there.
Right. So to the point.
And like I say, I really don't know. I mean, I guess they could take Tennessee and Kentucky away from one another eventually.
I guess.
Yeah. But it's not going to be Vandy or Alabama.
No, not at all.
So you just have to, and again, for South Carolina, South Carolina's a school, and there's a couple, Missouri maybe, where you're like, I don't know, from year to, or from at least 4 year to 4 year, who they're going to go get. We also have a poll question running today. Let me throw it out there for you again one more time before I move on to some other stories. Because we now know these games in conference play, do you still want to see South Carolina have Miami, North Carolina, and NC State on the non-conference schedule over the next 6 years? A, yes, that's more good football, or B, no, that's too hard. Hit me up at jphillips1075. I think it's been retweeted on the station feed as well. So vote for that. And we're running that one through tomorrow because this will be a discussion on tomorrow's program as well. And again, more Gamecock sound coming up for you on the Gamecock Notebook here in just a few minutes' time. In the meantime, the college football playoff meetings, Terry alluded to this a little bit earlier, this week have closed with no real movement. Heather Dinich says the group met for more than 4 hours. They only spent about, she says they only spent about 20 minutes talking about the future format.
Okay, so help me out here, Jay. How many minutes is 4 hours? 240
that's
minutes.
240 minutes.
And 20 minutes out of 240, you talked about the thing you're there to talk about.
She says these were regularly scheduled business meetings.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's just like logistical stuff for the coming games.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe they were trying to talk about it and you had some loud talkers at a table.
Yes.
And just ruined everything.
Yes. Or maybe they just had a really nice lunch.
Or maybe somebody was running their leaf blower.
But they're in Chicago, so maybe they got like some Chicago dogs. Or
Nothing
some
wrong
deep
with that,
dish.
man. Well, deep dish is always good.
Or some brats. But, and listen, a lot of this is just Rich Clark, by the way. Good on you, sir. You've really taken the baton and run with it nicely from Mr. Hancock when it comes to the sound bites. Quote, my sense is the room is comfortable with that being staying at 12 if that's where we go, and why they're probably not too pressed with rushing into a decision. If they can find time to have a discussion and make a decision, they want to have that opportunity. I don't know what to say anymore, Terry.
Because there's nothing left to say.
I just don't know what to say.
There's nothing left to say, Jay. That's
Do you want to? I mean, this becomes like a very simple yes or no question.
Yes.
Do you want to go to 16? Again, it's like third grade.
It ain't tough, man.
Yeah, you know, like
It
when
ain't
you
tough.
pass the note, do you want to be my girlfriend? Check yes, no. That's it. That's what we're doing here. If you say yes, good. Then we'll add some home games in the first round, and we'll find a few more places for people to stay.
So Jay, we're talking about folks who love committees, who live for committees, who live for meetings, who get tingly over committees and meetings. Do you think it's going to be as simple as it should be?
I don't know. I guess it's not.
They like talking to the media. They like standing there in front of microphones. They like feeling important. You know that.
They want, he says, he added, they want to be able to discuss, Rich Clark, by the way, is the executive director of
Right.
CFP. They want to be able to discuss things and understand the pros and cons for every option that's there. They don't want to make a decision until they've done the work and put the work in and understand every aspect of the decisions they're going to make. Let me for the third time today, like, reference a Friends episode. There's one where Joey is trying to write the vows for, like, Monica and Chandler, and he's like, their love is based on giving and sharing and loving and receiving. And the loving and the receiving and the giving and the sharing, it just goes, and it's just the same. That's all Rich Clark is doing.
Yeah.
They put in the work, and they want to understand, and they want to give, and they want to receive, and they want to love, and they want to share. Like, it just, bro, 16
Ain't
gives
that
you
tough,
more
dude?
money, more home games on campus, even more teams engaged in the regular season and crunch time. You know what the pros and cons are. The cons are you make less money. You have some teams get a bye that don't get to play at home, and you get fewer teams that'll get to make it.
So what's better for business for, what do you think, Jay?
More money.
Always.
That's what business is. So just
I'm
do
telling
it.
you.
Just do it. But
These are people who love to
well, that's gross.
have the
That's
love.
gross.
They
That's-
love to love.
Yeah.
They love to love the microphones.
Giving and
They
sharing
love them.
and having and
And they're
receiving.
giving.
And I might have gotten one of the words wrong. I can't remember, but I just
I remember that episode.
You
It's
know?
hilarious.
And he says it like 10 times
yeah,
for each
so
one.
good.
You know, having and giving and
You
sharing.
know,
and
Joey should be
receiving.
the spokesman for the college football playoff
Be
committee.
better than that, man. Where is he?
No
Matt
doubt.
LeBlanc. What's Matt,
Matt
LeBlanc doing
LeBlanc.
these days? Yeah, we'll get him on there.
Man, I wonder if they're making that movie where he plays baseball with the chimp. I wonder if they're doing a sequel.
That I couldn't tell you. 'Cause
Remember that one?
I honestly, I don't. Man.
I can't remember the name of that movie
don't.
now.
I don't. Finally, the NCAA has ruled that former G League player Tari Darlan, who is actually from the Central African Republic, will be made eligible to play college basketball. He is going to enroll at Santa Clara. He's 21 years old. He graduated from the NBA Africa Academy program and played in the 23-24 season with G League Ignite before that team ceased operation. So he hasn't been drafted. He's an unaffiliated player. Last year he played with the Delaware Bluecoats, averaged about 11 points. So he is going to be enrolling at Santa Clara this school year as a junior. He will have 2 years of eligibility. Unfortunately, look, I don't technically have a problem with this. I don't know if it's because he's foreign, because some foreign players have played professional basketball in their home countries as like 16 and 17-year-olds and then come to American colleges. The problem here, Terry, and I told that Tim Frisbee hit me up on Twitter about this earlier. The problem is that the NCAA doesn't give us reasons.
Right.
So we don't know what it is because they say, well, we don't speak on individual cases. Well, maybe you should. And if only to clarify
yeah,
and explain. Again, I don't have a problem with it, but what did you use to make this decision? And we may never know. So
You can be transparent to the point of the information.
yeah,
And they don't do that.
but they need to tell us why. But I mean, good for you, Tari Darlan, and hope you do well at Santa Clara.
Good luck, man.
All right, that's our integrated media headlines of the day. Gamecock Notebook is next.
Quick look on the traffic. Blythewood Road, I-77, we have an accident. Also, East Boundary Road near Fairway Drive. Farrow Road at North Brickyard Road, also an accident. I-20 westbound at exit 65, which is Broad River Road. North Lake, if you want to say it right. North Lake Drive near Columbia Avenue.
20 minutes after 5 o'clock here on a Wednesday afternoon. Time for the Gamecock Notebook. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford. Let's jump right into it. Coordinators speak on Wednesdays. And Mike Shula has been at the forefront of a lot of Gamecock fan conversation and certainly talk on these airwaves and other media where you get your information. Got a few minutes here, and we get it started, I think, with a question from our buddy David Cloninger.
Yep.
How's it going, Mike?
Hey, David, how are you?
When you're, I guess, individually coaching Linares, how much of it is, or how much of the time do you think spends on getting him ready for the next level whenever that day might come?
None. Yeah, I mean, we're getting him ready to go win football games.
What do you attribute some of the struggles to running the ball last week to?
Yeah, I just think it was, well, number one, when you lose yards on early downs, then it's hard to run the ball on second and long. You know, we just got to be better overall. I mean, it's all of us. It's, you know, coaching and playing better. It's up front. It's the backs. It's, you know, it's a little bit of all of us. It's frustrating because we had drives where we were moving the ball and you know, got the ball in the end zone, and we had drives where we were moving it and foul on the goal line and lose yards. And so it's, you know, just overall, just, you know, I'm not going to say it's just one thing here or another, but yes, we definitely have to run the ball better and coach the running game better, you know what I mean, and calling it better and have good balance, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Mike, kind of going off the run game, in the game, how do you feel like you have to adjust your play calling when something like the run game isn't going well? Like, do you feel like you have to rely more on the passing game, specifically like in this game against Missouri?
Yeah, no, I think that you just have a plan going in, and you always want to be balanced. I think you adjust certain things as the game goes on. Maybe there's certain runs that maybe you thought going into the game would be good. Maybe they're giving you different looks, or the opposite. Maybe there's some plays that you wanted to kind of wait and see what they were doing, and they ended up being plays that were going to be good plays early in the game. And but you know, again, you want to have good balance, and it's cliche like I know it kind of gets boring but you know, if you kind of stay ahead of the chains and you stay out of the long yardage situations, and you know, then all that stuff ties in better, the pass and the run. So.
What is your evaluation within the last 3 games of how successful the passing game has been, with receivers being able to get open and make plays for the offense? Yeah,
I think at times we had some big plays the other night. It was really good. I mean, I think all of us, when you look at it, you're like, wow, some really good stuff right there. Guys running by people for big plays, guys getting open on zones, and guys taking short passes and getting yards after the catch. Just got to see more of it.
Mike Linares talked after Missouri about some of the sacks and said, you know, I've got to be better there. I got to know when to throw away. I guess my question is, how difficult is it to find that line to where it's like, this could be the play, but you also got to know you've got to get rid of that ball? Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard with a guy that I think we may have talked about this before, and yeah, you just can't. The number one thing is, and he knows this is not, you just can't end up in second and long if you're going to throw it on first down. I think we threw it a little bit more on first down in that game and had some really good plays, and you know, it was back-to-back plays. We had one really explosive, and then the next play we run down inside, and yes, he does know that, and but you also, as a coach, there's a couple other plays too where he scrambled it out and ended up with a 3-yard loss on a sack instead of just throwing it away. But you know, I think you can't take the freedom away for him to have the ability to make somebody miss in a one-on-one situation, even if it's behind the line of scrimmage. And you have to be careful as a coach telling a player, hey, you know, don't do this, and then all of a sudden you're applauding him when he does what you're not telling him to do, but he breaks the tackle and runs for 30 yards. So it's hard. It's a fine line. But we try to, you know, obviously coach up the rest of the play where maybe we don't put him in that situation where he's got to, you know, see if we can get the ball out on time and get guys open and stuff like that.
That's Mike Shula, and he goes on for a few more minutes, and you can find that on the Gamecocks YouTube page if you want to hear all of what Coach Shula had to say, and we'll have more from him and Coach White throughout the day tomorrow on all of our programs.
What struck you the most out of that?
Well, A couple things. I think that opening question.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'll take Mike at his word that it's not about development, but I think all of this. Look, if it's, I suppose you could look at that answer in two ways. Number one, I mean, it's the honest truth in that no, we're here to win football games, but part of what we're going to be doing with him is what college programs do, and that is to continue to develop their talent in the hopes that as many of them as possible hit the next level. I think that last answer, because the things he said about the run game, look, we kind of know where those issues are right now.
Sure.
I think this offense is going to go as Lenoris goes.
Yeah.
And so I just and that's the case with most quarterbacks. I just think that last answer is the one that's interesting to me in terms of how much we put on Lenoris to make that decision. Because I do think Lenoris, I said this in my opening on Monday, and I know it's a bit of an oxymoron here, but I think Lenoris is making bad decisions for a good reason. And you're like, Jay, what? He wants to make the play.
Sure.
He's doing all he can to make the play.
Right.
But sometimes the play is throw the ball away.
Yeah,
and that's just not part of the discussion of the play.
Yeah, and I think to your point,
I hope people know what I mean when I say that.
I
Right?
think
It's
what Lenoris is doing is coming from a good place. He's trying to make a big play. He's trying to make something happen, and he doesn't want to give up on the play. And one of the things they teach you as a quarterback, especially if you move up to the pro level, live for the next play.
Yes.
Sometimes a play is not going to work. It's not successful. They beat you. Get rid of it and live for the next play. I feel like all of this is Lenoris trying to do the right things.
Yes.
I think he's trying to go through progressions, which is a nice thing. He's trying to, get better from the pocket, which is a good thing. But what it's done has, and not intentionally, I really believe it's not intentional at this point. It's taken away that instinctive way he played last year that makes him so dangerous to defenders. All I ever heard about, Chris Miller told me when we first saw Lenoris Sellers this freshman year, Chris Miller was telling me about how Lenoris Sellers took the game over for South Florence in the state championship with his legs.
Yeah.
And I just think now, if you're Lenoris, you're kind of in this like purgatory almost of you're trying to do the right things because they're the right things, but it's taking you away from being instinctive and doing the things that make you special. But no one's trying to do that. And you heard Mike's answer. Mike's not saying, no, I don't want him running. What are you, nuts? I want him throwing that bleeping thing. No, I think everybody's trying to do the right thing or what they perceive as the right thing, but it's just not leading to an explosive or productive offense.
You feel like a lot of the offseason, and again, it's all well-intended, has been for Lenoris to become a better thrower of the football. And that's great. Mm-hmm. That's great.
And you saw him, he had some nice throws on Saturday.
But I think you hit on it, and I would just draw a line. And you were talking about your conversation with Chris and when Lenoris won a title. Not just take over the game with his legs, just stop right there. He just take over the game. Mm-hmm. Because that's what this young man is used to. Mm-hmm. Because he is better than you. Like, what's your name? It doesn't matter. Is Lenoris Sellers better than you? Yeah. I mean, there are very few people, right, that can say, no, I'm better than him. The point is, that's what he's doing. He takes over games. And last season, once he got those sea legs under him the first few weeks, and remember, he missed a game and a half. Mm-hmm. Then he was, I don't want to say on cruise control because that's not what I mean, but we all saw it. We all saw it.
Everyone saw it.
Even in Tuscaloosa, he had a couple plays you want back, but he had a good game that day.
Once he got cooking, and it locked in for him, he was just playing instinctive football. In Missouri, beat Missouri with his arm. Clemson and A&M, they're still trying to tackle him and sack him, right? I mean, so it's just, and again, it's all coming from a good place. It just feels like everything's stuck in neutral.
Andy Staples was even talking about the linebacker spy that was on Lenoris on the touchdown run the other day.
In the Clemson game?
Yeah. It's like they had a guy on him.
Yeah. My man's still reaching for air, by the way. Yeah, exactly.
They had a guy on him.
Absolutely.
Couldn't bring him down. That's the Gamecock Notebook. Drive around the SEC is next. AAA Heating and Air is ready to keep you and your family nice and comfortable for many, many years to come. We've had another hot week here in the capital city. It happens this time of year, but if if you finally this week realized, the AC just hadn't been getting it done all summer. Well, then now is a great time to call 803-677-1500 and let the pros at AAA Heating and Air put a brand new system in your house, one that is specific for your needs, and they'll get you guaranteed financing. You have no payments or interest for a full year for qualified buyers. $1,500 system buyback rebate, 15-year parts and labor guarantee. We got a brand new system in the upstairs of our house a couple of months ago. Everybody loves it. Everybody's happy. That's what it's all about. That's what they want to do for you. A quick repair, a brand new system, anything in between 803-677-1500. Do what I've done. Many others. Call AAA Heating and Air.
Check on the traffic real quick. We got some accidents to get to here. North Lake Drive at Columbia Avenue, also I-20 westbound, 2 different accidents. Well, really one. It's just 2 different times here on the sheet. I-20 westbound at Broad River Road, exit 65. Hugie at Blossom, there's an accident. Also Farrow Road at North Brickyard Road. East Boundary Road at Fairway Drive. Blythewood Road at I-77, an accident as well. We'll get back in here, get you a drive around the SEC here on the post-game show. Also remind you, our high school football scoreboard show with Justin and Elijah, that will be 7 to 11 this Friday night. So check that out. That's coming up again Friday night with Elijah and Justin. Post-game show, drive around the SEC next.
Welcome back in. It is Drive Around the SEC time here on a Wednesday afternoon. Jay Phillips and Terry Ford with you. A couple of quick notes. I won't get into all the details on it because, again, you don't want to be quizzed on this later because there's a lot of matchups. But I will tell you that South Carolina now knows its dates and times for its participation in the ACC SEC basketball challenges. The men will host Virginia Tech on Tuesday, December the 2nd at 7 o'clock. We already knew it would be Virginia Tech. Now we know the exact time and date. So Tuesday, December 2, 7 p.m. We'll, of course, have that game for you on our airwaves. It will be televised on the SEC network. Dawn Staley's team will be at Louisville on Thursday, December the 4th, also at 7 p.m. That will be on Big ESPN and on these airwaves.
There we go.
Here in Columbia. There you go.
Yes.
So that's the ACC, SEC. And if you want, I think the game of the men's side is Florida going to Durham.
Feels like it, yep. Who won the national championship last year?
Florida.
Who got beat in the Final Four?
Duke.
Yeah. But again, Duke's they got rid of all their high school All-America, five-star one-and-doners from last year and brought a new wave of them this year.
A bunch of new ones, including Carlos Boozer's twins.
Yeah.
Who apparently are, like, one of them's like number 5 in the country.
Yeah.
And the other one's like number 15 in the country.
How do you like to be number 15 and looking up at your twin brother's number 5?
Which one's older? What if 15 is older than 5?
By a few seconds?
You know, that's the way
that'd be
twins,
so good.
Yeah. I love when twins do that, by the way.
I'm older.
Yeah, that's my big brother, or that's my little brother.
By 4 seconds.
Something like that. Truth.
It is true.
Truth.
It's true.
Somebody had to be born first. Anyway, we'll get into a little bit of the games that are coming up this weekend and start looking ahead to some of that. But there's one thing that Terry and I were talking about earlier today in our pre-show meeting. I think a lot of us felt this way. Florida is off this weekend. And if they were going to let go of Billy Napier now, they would have done it. So they're obviously not going to. And you had mentioned you were listening to a show down in Florida where the host, at least of that particular program, believed that Lane Kiffin was top of the list. I believe Lane Kiffin is top of the list.
Oh, hey, I think he should be.
And at least for now, yeah. But I like your sort of counterpunch to it because I think it makes a lot of sense.
Well, look, I mean, in theory, wow, who wouldn't leave Ole Miss for Florida, right? I mean, you go, wow, Florida, resources,
I mean,
money,
heck, man,
Florida.
Tuberville left Ole Miss for Auburn.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
So now, your automatic knee jerk is, of course, you leave Ole Miss for Florida. Well, in the words of the great retired Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend.
That's right.
You think about for Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is making $9 million a year in Oxford. Lane Kiffin right now, they love him. I mean, even last year, look, let's just be real. Last year, Ole Miss underachieved. They're supposed to be a college football playoff team. They went out and tore up the portal, brought all these guys in who are now in the NFL, and guess what? They didn't make it, and they lost to Kentucky, my friend.
The Kentucky.
So they did not make the college football playoff. Now, let's take that scenario and put it at Florida for a minute. What is it sounding like in Gainesville if that would have happened? Let's put together a GoFundMe to fire that guy, pay his buyout. You know what they did in Oxford? It's okay, Lane, we love you. You still won a lot of games.
Yeah.
It's okay. I just think they love him. The level of crazy is nowhere near what it is in Florida. The level of expectation at this point in time, and that might change one day, but right now in Oxford, the level of expectation is nowhere near
where does
Florida.
it get, because after you and I talked, I thought about it, because I think you're right, and there isn't the same level of expectation. And I don't believe, personally, I don't believe that Florida's level of expectation is unrealistic.
No, they've won national championship with 2 different coaches.
You know, and look, Florida underachieves.
Absolutely.
You're in a talent-rich state. I'm not going to sit here and say, I don't care which way. California, Texas, Florida, I don't care. Right? You got talent everywhere.
Yes.
You should be better on a more annual basis than you are. And for whatever reasons, and I think they're generational, they just aren't. Again, I always come back to, I told you this morning. Before Steve, some of you may not know this. Before Steve Spurrier's arrival as head coach, not when he was a player, not when he won the Heisman bleeping trophy, until Steve Spurrier's arrival as head coach of the Florida Gator football program, the University of Florida, which at that point I guess had been in the SEC for 50-something years, whatever, had never won an outright conference championship. Steve won 6.
Yeah.
He reset everything. Urban won a few. Urban won 2 titles to Steve's 1. You know, you've even had guys seemingly backdoor their way into an SEC championship game after Urban Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
You got all the resources, wonderful stadium, beautiful campus, one of the best public schools in the country, blah, 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 blah. Why are you floundering like this?
You should never go through a long period of time, or even really a short period of time, and be like Florida has been. You and I have this conversation.
Florida should be like Georgia.
Yes, absolutely.
And you know what, though? So should LSU.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. But the thing is, LSU pops up and wins a national championship every so many years.
Yeah.
The thing about with Florida, and it's not just Florida, there are other institutions like this. You need to know thyself. And I don't think Florida realizes just what kind of coach you need to succeed there. Look at the guys who have succeeded. Big ego guys, guys who command rooms, guys who don't give a crap what you think or what you say because they are so confident in themselves, they know they're right. Get out of my kitchen.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guys that work at Florida.
You're not even allowed in their kitchen.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you're not even allowed.
You can't get near.
You can't get it. You can't near. You can sit in the table outside. We'll bring you some food.
But do not
come in my kitchen.
Come in my kitchen.
Yeah.
They need Gordon Ramsay.
Right.
That's what works there is Gordon Ramsay.
Right.
And look, no offense to Billy Napier. Billy Napier could go off to Wake Forest and win. Billy Napier could go to other places and be fine. Billy Napier's not the right fit at Florida. He's just not that guy. He's not Gordon Ramsay. You need that guy to win in Florida, and Florida doesn't seem to understand that for some reason.
And I think Lane's that guy.
Lane's that guy. I'll tell you, you and I talk about this. As much as we don't like to admit it, I'm starting to think Eli Drinkwitz could be that guy.
I think he could. I don't know yet.
I'm much more confident in Lane being that guy.
Yeah. But to come back to the point, here's what I was going to ask you that I was thinking about, because I think you're right about everything you said about where he is at Mississippi these days and what they expect. But where is the line that crosses into where the Kentucky folks started to grumble? Now, most of the Kentucky folks with Mark Stoops, who also makes a lot of money, and again, that's why Andy Staples says the best job in America is Kentucky.
No doubt.
Because they will pay you like you are winning a whole bunch of games, and you don't even have to win a bunch of games.
Just keep
and they really don't care.
Till basketball season.
Yeah, I mean, if you win 8 a year at Kentucky, they really are fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to continue at Mississippi. And that wouldn't continue here.
See, that's my thing
at
with
places
Ole
like
Miss.
that.
Right.
You know?
I think at some point they are going to ratchet up.
When you spend that kind of money, it does come with an expectation of result.
Yes.
And so, and it's not to say Lane can't achieve those things here, but what is the ceiling in terms of the money that can be raised? I mean, all those kind of things. There are limitations that Florida does not have.
Ole Miss, yes, absolutely.
Everybody has one.
But
everybody
there's
has
a little
one.
bit lower than Florida.
Absolutely. And so is that part of the appeal? And look, Lane could probably go down to Gainesville and make 11, 12, you know?
And you'll have more resources. I mean, yes, you'll have more pressure and more expectation, but also Lane's got an ego. And will his ego go, you know what? I'm going to go be the guy to fix Florida.
I think he could, but Eli could too. But anyway, that's it. But they're clearly not doing it yet.
Not yet.
They're giving Billy that the point of this is they're off this weekend. And they had an opportunity if they wanted to do it now, and they chose not to. Bama goes to Georgia. Georgia currently a 3.5-point favorite. Notre Dame is going to Arkansas in a great non-con game. Notre Dame minus 4.5. Mississippi LSU just a 1.5-point spread in Oxford for the home team. A&M minus 6.5 at home over Auburn. Tennessee traveling to Starkville. That's just 7.5-point spreads here.
That's it?
That's it. When I was looking, I was like, 12, 13, 7.5.
How about that?
I kind of think Tennessee might cover that.
I think they will.
That's the drive around the SEC. We'll wrap up the poll question, start, bench, drop, Jay versus the internet on the other side. It is Jay versus the Internet time. Have that for you in just a second. We got a lot to get to in these final 6 minutes or so of the program. I do want to remind you tomorrow morning, Tyler and the crew will be over at Firehouse Subs in West Columbia. It's over that way a couple of miles. Right down that way. Right.
Which way?
Right there. Right. Just keep going that way. I'm pointing down Gervais Street, Highway 1. Keep on.
Or
going.
that way.
And if you keep on going Highway 1, you can go to up through North Carolina, and eventually you get to like right by the campus of the University of Maryland, and then on up into New York.
One's great, man. One take you all over the place.
Yeah. It's like the original north-south highway on this part of the world.
How about that?
And then they built 95.
And nobody wants to take one.
Nobody wants to take 95 either.
Nobody, some days, you're right. Some days, my
and that's just down here. I know how it is up between our nation's capital and
miserable
and Boston.
Miserable.
Anyway, start bench drop today was a fun one. Start bench drop, some things that kind of bug you is what we said here. Things that really aggravate you. The 8 a.m. leaf blower guy.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily the weekend 8 a.m. leaf blower guy.
Mm-hmm.
Loud talker at a theater or concert. And the slow left lane driver. Our buddy John, our regular guy John, start the loud talker, bench the 8 a.m. leaf blower, drop the slow left lane driver.
Mm-hmm.
Mark reminds us there is a law against driving slowly in the left lane in South Carolina.
Nice.
They just don't enforce it.
They don't. I was going to say.
So enforce it.
Nobody
please.
gets pulled over for
enforce it. Or we do like Gomer Pyle, citizens arrest. Mark says start the slow left lane driver, bench the 8 a.m. leaf blower, drop the loud talker. Mark says, by the way, I was at that Harry Connick concert. My wife had to wake me up at the end. Oh,
wow.
Then you're doing it wrong,
Wouldn't it have been great if he said I was the loud talker?
You're doing it wrong.
Great.
You're doing it wrong. Harry Connick, that show was awesome. I love that. I love Harry Connick. He's fantastic. David, start the slow left lane driver, bench the loud talker, cut the 8 a.m. leaf blower guy. He says, I get it because you want to get your yard work done early. Yeah, I get it too.
How about
I like
9:01?
But not at 8.
Not at 8, dude.
On a Saturday.
Think about your neighbors.
Yeah, not at 8 on a Saturday.
Which way are you going?
I am starting. This has been tough. And you might think that I would start the loud talker because of my story. And if you missed it, again, there was a really loud talker at the Harry Connick show a few years ago. The guy just wouldn't shut up during the music. I'm going to start the left lane driver.
Okay.
It just drives me nuts. And I think it's an awareness thing. It's like, what is it about what you're doing that you don't get is wrong? It drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I will bench the loud talker at a theater or concert. And as much as I do not like the 8 a.m. leaf blower guy, I got to drop one of them.
Right.
So that's it.
Because all three are annoying.
I think and maybe it's because that doesn't happen as often.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll drop that one.
Well, that's where it goes.
Yeah.
I start the 8 a.m. leaf blower guy because I got some dude in my neighborhood who does stuff at like 8 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning on weekends.
Yeah.
Again, if I find him. Well, if my girlfriend finds him. All right, I'm going to bench the left lane because, again, I do a lot of driving.
Yep.
It's quite annoying.
Yep.
The loud talker, again, that drives you crazy too, but since I don't run into that as much, I will drop that one.
Yeah. And again, I was mentioning, there's some guy was on a date trying to impress a girl, and I'm like, dude, maybe taking her to dinner and this show is impressive, and you can talk with her later.
But not during the concert.
Yeah. By the way, we had a real quick question. Michael asked about the North Carolina. He said, is it a true home and home, or are we still playing in Charlotte? It is a true home and home.
There you go.
Miami, Chapel Hill, Raleigh will be, Carolina will go to, I hope, we'll still go to all three and they'll come here. That's my hope. All right, let's do it real quick.
All right, here we go. Here's the good news. The internet went 0-3 last night.
Okay.
Here's the better news. Jay went 0-3 last night.
Oh, man.
All right, so here we go. Once again, we're playing this game. Tigers and Guardians in Cleveland. Tigers are trying to get away from a 9-game losing streak. Will the Tigers win?
Tigers are going to win tonight.
All right. Next, the Red Sox in Toronto. Blue Jays only lead the Yankees by a game.
Yeah.
Red Sox are in the wild card right now if you had the playoffs.
Yeah.
Red Sox in Toronto. Blue Jays trying to hold on to the East.
What?
Max Scherzer, Garrett Crochet, by the way.
Toronto.
Finally. Dodgers and Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are only a game out of the wild
they're right
card.
there. Right there.
Dodgers will have Blake Snell. Diamondbacks, Ryan Nelson.
Where's the game?
in Arizona.
In Phoenix. Give me the home team. What the hell?
Why not? How about the Diamondbacks? They've been slipping and slopping
you know what?
around
Last
all
few
year.
years, they've been sneaky.
Traded some
Good.
pieces away at the deadline. All of a sudden, you look up and guess who's one game out?
Yeah, they play some pretty good baseball.
They do okay.
Who's their manager? Seriously, who?
Oh, it's Lavello. Torey Lavello.
Or if he needs to come to Atlanta. Nothing again, but I think Snit's going to retire.
Try to run Snit.
No.
out
I think
already.
seriously. I think Snit's going to retire.
Well, that's. There's been a little smoke about.
Yeah, I mean, and he's even kind of like I want to be a granddad before I can't be a granddad.
All right.
Kind of
And
a
he's
thing.
got a ring.
Yeah. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thanks to Lulu for joining us. We'll see y'all. Be good.